Well, hello everyone. Happy something, whatever today is. I don't even know. Let me see. Happy Thursday, second day of July as well. We're making some strides here. Hey, cat. Okay, my cats are surrounding me today. I just fed them, so what are you guys doing here? All right, well, Nala says hi. She's making her appearance as we speak. I made the mistake of, I had some leftover treats that I left on my desk yesterday. And that's why Nala, she became like Sherlock Holmes. She was like coming over here inspecting to see if there's anything left. There's no food here. There's nothing. But my cat says hello. Good girl. Absolute silence this time. When we can get some good ASMR from her, it is the best. And my other cat says hi. I can see him in the background there. Hold on. There he is. He's a little bit out of focus for now, but Kimbap says hi. He also must imagine there's food. And I literally just gave them food, so these guys are just being greedy bastards, basically. All right, well, and there's his tail. Let me put Nala down for now. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining another stream. My name's Yobel. I am a wildlife and travel photographer and filmmaker. I got to get used to calling myself a filmmaker. It doesn't like feel natural just yet. I think I need to make a few more of these kind of short films, and then I'll get over like what do they say, imposter syndrome. But the point is, thank you guys for being here. I create content on YouTube, on Instagram, social medias, all that, and I've been streaming now for over a year. We've crossed the year threshold. I think my first stream ever was in mid-June, I believe. And then we ended up streaming for 41 days in a row. And then I had my film project with Nikon in Uganda, so I had to go away. And then once I came back, it was harder for me to get back into a daily routine of streaming. So the magic was broken after 41 days, but it was a really cool experience. And obviously now I'm continuing to be a live streamer. So I've enjoyed it quite enough to keep doing it. But as part of that, I've also kind of trimmed down the hours that I stream. Previously, I was streaming like 8 to 9 hours every day as I was exploring all this. Now, usually I've been doing a little bit like 3 hours, that kind of thing. And I also, instead of doing 7 days a week, I've been doing like 3 to 5 times a week, something like that. Today, I'm starting slightly early. It is now 7 p.m. my time. I've got a lot of photos and videos that I want to crush through. So let's see if I can go at least until 10 p.m., 3 hours, and maybe we'll just grind throughout the night. We'll see. Yo, we got DTK in the chat. DTK says, yo, Bell. How's it going? Do to know. Good to hear from you. And hello to Daytor and Sora for hopping in earlier and saying hi as we kicked off the stream. I appreciate you guys coming in early and putting it in the chat. Hello. It feels nice that you guys are here before we really kick things off. I mentioned this last time as well, but one thing I really like, and who would have thought that I would get this? There must be a lens filter just to get this effect. But I have the Elgato teleprompter. You can kind of see it here on the edge because I'm using a 20mm lens. So it's just too wide, where if I showed you the full screen, you can also see the lip of the teleprompter showing up on the screen. So it's not really designed for the 20mm. I just have it punched in slightly. But the cool effect of this currently is that it's created a nice little hazy, bloomy effect. Yeah, you can see it here, right? It's creating a nice glow, a misty glow on all my light sources, which I'm not complaining, by the way. It looks good. It looks pretty damn good. You know, like you have to use dehancer, and I have to use all the video effects in post to get to this kind of quality, but here we have it live. So I think that's pretty cool. So anyways, that's one. If you're noticing something looks different about my shot, it's literally just because I put the teleprompter in front of my lens, and it's creating a bit of a reflection or some kind of misty thing. DTK is asking, guess what? I DTK. I do not know. Tell us. Yeah, otherwise, happy Thursday, guys. So yesterday I went back on a stream. I hadn't streamed for about a week because I was taking care of a lot of stuff behind the scenes, mainly annoying stuff because my hard drive failed. My beautiful 44 terabyte hard drive went through a bit of a heart attack, or it gave me a heart attack. It's doing fine. I'm still using it right now, and thankfully I did discover that it's under warranty for another couple years, which is good. But once I'm safely, everything is technically backed up on the 44 terabyte, but I have this paranoia. All of you photographers and videographers out there, you'll know this paranoia. Even though I know it's backed up to the cloud, I just feel so nervous about hitting delete and reformatting this 44 terabyte drive. So I'm slow rolling it a little bit in terms of trying to see if I can transfer some of those files to some of my existing hard drives that hopefully have just enough space. And then I need to take it to the shop. And apparently because it's under warranty, assuming they said as long as there's no physical damage or water damage. So as long as I don't accidentally drop it on my way to the shop, or if it starts raining in Dubai of all places, I should be good. And they'll either repair it or they'll give me a replacement. But even that will take a few weeks. So I'm like, ugh, it's just, you know, that's life. DTK says it's my birthday. It is, I'm assuming you have a typo there. It is my birthday, says DTK. Happy Thursday. Well, happy birthday. What are you, like 14 now? I think you were, I think when you said your age before, you were like, I don't know, 13 or something. Man, I'm so jealous. But, well, happy birthday. Hopefully you enjoy your sweet, I guess there's only a sweet 16, right? And that's only for girls. Do boys do sweet 16s these days? Are we past the whole, like, you know, you're 14? I think you're saying yes to 14. Well, congrats, man. God, 14. You're not even half my age, man. Which makes me sad. Sad is the wrong word, but holy crap. It makes me feel old for sure. The fact that you are 14, oh my God. Well, listen, you have your whole life ahead of you, okay? That is one of the best gifts that you don't realize. I wish more people would have told me when I was young to appreciate when I'm young. You know, you kind of hear it, but you want people, you should hear it more often, is what I'm saying. And don't take it for granted. You know, every day that you're living now when you're freaking 14, everything is new to you, okay? Listen, you're only 14 years old. You're going to step outside of your house and the air you breathe will be a brand new experience for you, okay? You'll never have ever smelled a smell before in your life until tomorrow, right? Like, you have so much room to discover new things in life, which is great because that's why it'll feel like your life is going on forever. You're just collecting so much data for your hard drive, your memory. Once you get to my age and older, you've seen it all, okay? You've seen it all. So every new experience is not really new. It's just like it's like an experience that's repurposed. You're getting used experiences, okay? So enjoy the fresh new stuff that you see every day. I don't know what I'm talking about. The point is, happy birthday. Sounds like you're gonna have a good celebration with your family, I hope. Make some content. Actually, no, I take that back. Oh my God, I'm so content brained. You should take, the other thing you should take, not for granted, is you, DTK, are part of a new generation that, in good ways and bad, right? There's always good and bad. One of the bad is you do not know a life that was analog, okay? Your whole life is digital. Your whole life is in the cloud. Your whole life is being documented every single second by electronic devices, your Apple Watch, your smartphone, your cameras, whatever it is, right? And, you know, there's nothing, I don't think it's necessarily wrong or anything like that, but sometimes I think there's a lot that you can appreciate about the old way of living, and I am part of that old way, the analog way, when you had to go outside and physically do stuff, you know, you had to, or just to enjoy. Did you know, DTK, there was a time way back in the dinosaur age when we had to, if you had to take a shit, okay, you're 14 now, so you can have these conversations. There was a time when if you went to the toilet, you had nothing to do besides take a shit. Nowadays, you've got your phone with you. You're probably sitting on that toilet for like 30 minutes because you're playing some video game, or I don't know, watching some YouTube videos, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, Well, no, actually, the equivalent that we had growing up was you'd go to the toilet with the freaking book. They even make fun of this in, well, they don't make fun of it, but they allude to this in Breaking Bad, amazing TV show. And then there's that pivotal moment where a character is on the toilet and then, you know, what does he do? And then there's always a book in the bathroom for guests to be able to read while they're taking a shit. Okay? Life was different back then. But there was a bit of peace to that. I was wondering where I was going with this. My point is, there was some peace in living a world without all that noise, all that digital noise. So kind of, you know what? Take your birthday and don't make content. How about that? All right? Try that for a change. It's your birthday. You can make content about the fact that you didn't make content, and your friends will be like, "What?" It's like, on my birthday, instead of taking my phone out and recording everything and creating some cool video, I actually decided to log off. What do we say? We say touch grass. I decided to not even touch my phone at all or cameras and just enjoy peace and quiet. Yeah. Anyways, don't actually do that. Enjoy your life. Have fun. You know, hang out with your friends and all that. But just FYI. All right. Well, either way, thanks for that fun little chat there to start off the stream. We've got a lot of stuff to work through, as I mentioned. I've got, how many terabytes of photos and videos? I did transfer all my photos out safely from my risky hard drive. Let me see, how much are we dealing with here? Sri Lanka is not too bad for photos. It's about 270 gigabytes worth of photos across 5 days. And then for videos, yesterday we did all of the color correction, so we're pretty far along. For videos, I only took about 2 terabytes worth of footage, so not that much. It was also a fairly short trip. It was like 4 to 5 days. So hopefully it won't take too long to kind of go through and color grade everything properly. Like I mentioned, I don't actually know what story we're going to be telling with the footage. Because this is from 2024. I don't know if you guys can hear my cats, but my cats are going wild. This is from 2024 when I was really just starting to understand how to record video. Obviously, I knew how to, you know, point and shoot. I knew what settings to apply, but I didn't know anything about film technique. I didn't know anything about, you know, telling a story or having vision or foresight, you know, in advance, trying to figure out what exactly is it that I want to capture. I didn't know any of that. So what you'll see instead is an amalgamation of just random clips from every day of my travel. Anytime I felt like there was something worth capturing, I just lifted my camera, took a recording, and that was it. So, which is not fun for present day me. Past tense me didn't give a shit, just capture whatever. Present day me has to sift through all the garbage and try to figure out, is there a story there? So that's what you're going to be watching with me, is like trying to figure out if there is even some story to tell. Most likely, the most casual and the obvious answer is that I'll just turn this into a travel vlog where I'll pick and choose all the key footage that I have. I'll apply a bit of a script and I'll do a voiceover narration. And yeah, hopefully we'll get a beginning, middle, and end of my experience. But just for your guys' reference up front, this was a 3 to 5 day, I forget how many days proper it was. Let's call it a 4-day trip with a bunch of Nikon photographers. So I think there was about 7, 8, or 9 of them, I forget how many, who joined me. I was the tour leader. I had basically organized the trip, and you know, sponsored by Nikon. They basically all arrived together, and then we just, you know, went through the itinerary day by day. So I was there as a tour leader / photographer guide. And yeah, I did my best to try to record as much as I could throughout the days of the trip. And hopefully we've got enough here to tell some kind of a story. Now, one thing I completely forgot is I had someone, there was someone on the trip. His name's Mark. You can see him briefly somewhere here. He kind of works for Nikon as like a video guy. He's like the video guy. And he joins a lot of the trips to record behind the scenes. He recorded a lot. I don't know if he still has the captures from that trip, because I don't think I have it, or at least I didn't see it in the folder. Let me see. Because I feel like if I had it I would have copied it over as his footage. Like I would have had a folder here that said like Mark's videos, because I've done that for the other trip that we went together. So I don't have it here. I don't know if that means he never gave it to me, or I might have to ask him. Okay, give me a second. I'm gonna message him. DTK said, well said, I got to go to do some editing. Have you seen my latest videos? I have not. I've been out of touch for a while. I've been really out of it. Just, you know, catching up on everything. Give me a second. Where did it go? Okay, let me send a message to Mark. Hello, brother. Sorry, very random. Hope all is well. Question: do you still have the footage from Sri Lanka 2024? I forget if you gave to me already, but don't see it on my hard drive. Gracias. He's not Spanish, but okay. Also, let me just blow my nose because it's getting a little bit. It hits me in strides. Let me just BRB for like literally 30 seconds. Okay, we back. I took a little allergy pill as well, so hopefully that helps. All right, boom. So I sent my message. I think we're good to go. Yes. 7:15 p.m. So I've done all the color correction. I obviously want to do I need to do a bit of color grading on everything. So random, so creepy of me to film these guys. Now, they gave me permission, so don't get me wrong, but yeah, we'll see. I'm excited. I'm actually quite excited to see what kind of a story I can tell here. There was a bunch of like random fun moments in between. There's a few kind of local cultural shots, a bit of wildlife as well. So I think there should be enough to at least tell an interesting, like, hey, here's my trip, here's a travel diary kind of a concept. So, yeah. But before we go into those, let me see, is there a key wildlife shot maybe? Yeah, we got some monkeys, that's fine. Before we get into those, let's start doing some photo edits. So give me a second, let's open up Lightroom. So today, oh, what's happening? We got Fedorevsky in the chat. Your catalog will be upgraded in order to access the latest changes in this newer version of Lightroom Classic. Okay, so Lightroom is going through an update. I guess I'll upgrade. How's it going? Fedorevsky says howdy. Long time no see. I think I had your latest video up on my list of my backlog of videos to watch. It's got to be one of these, I think, unless I exited everything. But good to see you. Hopefully you've been well. Hopefully you've been making some content in my absence. Oh wait, well, there was something just popped up there. Did it disappear? Dang it. Where'd it go? I could have sworn there was something that popped here that I thought would be worth watching. There will never be another Anthony Bourdain. How deleting 80% of a bad movie magically makes it a masterpiece. Interesting, interesting. At last, camera innovations from Peter McKinnon. I've gotten enough Osmo Pocket stuff. I already know I need to get the latest Osmo Pocket. Let's be real. Ooh, I think I've seen this, The Lost Forest. Dang it, I lost it. YouTube did the thing that I get annoyed about Instagram and like Twitter and stuff for, where if you open it up again after you haven't been on, it like gives you a preview and then it just refreshes before you can click on anything and it's gone. Okay, anyways, we got a bunch of YouTube videos to watch. Let's see, what do we start with? I think I saw there was a Casey Neistat video I wanted to watch, as per usual. Is it true that he's like putting a video out there every single day? It is insane, his work ethic. But yeah, I think we'll start with that. Now, the problem is my Lightroom is updating. God dang it. I didn't expect this to happen. I don't know how long it's going to take. It says it's updating catalog file format, catalog upgrade in progress. So hopefully it doesn't take too long because my goal was to edit photos today. But I mean, I guess I'll start with color grading videos. Fed says, been busy working and arranging the funeral, but now the funeral's over. We fly to Spain on Saturday. Well, my condolences. I don't know who the funeral was for, but you know, death is always a thing. I don't know. I feel like that's one thing, I guess, as you get older, right? I guess what do they say is like death becomes a friend kind of a thing. But it doesn't, you know, you don't welcome it necessarily. So it is always sad when someone dies or passes away or whatever, but sorry to hear that, Fed. Hopefully, at the very least, hopefully it brought some people together. It sounds like, oh, no, sorry, I misread that. You're flying to, I thought you were saying you're flying to Spain for a funeral. You're flying to Spain on Saturday. Oh, for like a vacation then or something. What is going on? Ah, wait, no, I'm so confused. I'm trying to play this video. Okay, there we go. There it is. Huh. I don't know why, but it disappeared on me. Fed says, if you remember, it was my grandma who died. We talked about it a bit on another stream. Oh, okay. I apologize. I didn't recall. But yeah, my condolences. That's yeah. I don't know why, but I'm drawing a huge blank on this conversation. So I do apologize for that as well, because obviously that was a very deep conversation for me to be blanking on. But I hope she lived a wonderful life, a wonderful, beautiful life. Oh, you know what? It is ringing a bell, I think. Or I seem to remember having this thought recently where I was thinking how in some ways it's fortunate to be able to have your grandma be around you for this long, because I only had one grandma in my childhood. One of my grandmas passed away before I was born, I think. And then the other, oh yeah, I do remember this conversation now, because I think I was mentioning my grandma stayed with us in my childhood for a number of years, and I don't think I appreciated her presence enough. I was just getting annoyed with her all the time for like following me around and like, you know, constantly pestering me to eat food, which is like, you know, a weird reason to get angry at someone. But, you know, you're a kid, and she would literally just constantly tail me and follow me around and, you know, just out of nowhere peek her head through and just be like, you know, Yobel, have you eaten yet? And, you know, I feel guilty about it. Guilty is too strong of a word, but I wish I'd appreciated her more when she was still there. But yeah, okay, so the conversation is slowly coming back to me. Fed says, yeah, going to Spain on vacation, bringing my parents and my sister and her family, husband and 4 kids. Damn. Are you, does that mean you're the designated camera guy? You have to take all the photos and videos? She was 95, had a long, good life. Nice. Of course, the Nikon ZR is also tagging along to Spain. Of course it is. We'll enjoy that travel, man. That sounds great. Is it done? Oh, perfect. Okay, what's new with Lightroom? I wasn't expecting this. Let's full screen this. Oh, I can't. Okay, so what's new June 2026 for Lightroom? Improved subject masking. Don't mind if I do. I love me some good subject mask. Edit in Photoshop. 16-bit depth is now supported when editing HDR. Apple neural engine support for denoise. Ooh, okay. I do have Mac OS Apple Silicon, so I'm happy to hear that. Keyword sync. Okay, I don't care about that. Duplicate detection. Interesting. Assisted culling. Man, everyone's leaning into AI, aren't they? Now optimized for people-focused shoots. Okay. Background process indicator, library metadata, brush optimization. Interesting. What does that mean? Let's see. Experience more responsiveness when brushing for a mask. Okay, so what am I looking at here? I'm gonna guess the one on the right is what's more is the more recent change, yeah? I'm gonna be honest, I can't really tell the difference there. Enhanced tether support, okay, for Canon cameras. All right, well, you know, it's like a okay update. All right, so today, like I said, I want to do some of the photo edits. Where were we? Oh wait, I also need to resync all these photos. I need to get all these photos off of my failing hard drive. Speaking of which, I can hear it grinding away right now. Jesus Christ. Does not make me... It's not very encouraging when I'm hearing this hard drive that's been causing me grief sounding like it's on its last. So let me find it. Sri Lanka. Hold on. Where the heck is this? Go to folder in library. Okay. And then can I how do I do this again? I need to update folder location. There we go. And I'll put it into, there's a folder, initial photo imports. There we go. This is 315. Oh, why did I start there? Okay. Choose. Cool. Let's do that for the other photos. Dang it. This is going to take me some time. Where did it go? Oh, actually, it won't take that long. 313. Update folder location. Go to initial photo imports, 2020. What is it? 313. Boom. Next day. Whoops. Where'd he go? There it is. 314. Update folder location. $314. Okay. It should be what? I think like 2 more days left. Where are you? Jesus. I probably need to update my Lightroom catalog. I think it's a bit bloated. It's literally got everything from the past like 8-9 years. Which I imagine shouldn't... There probably are smarter ways to deal with, I don't know, Lightroom catalog stuff, but I'm not the best example for this. Update location. This is 316. There it is. And then one more. Fed says, my plan is to film some stuff and make some videos, but of course with the whole family coming along, I probably won't have as much time to do so. We're going back in November also, planning to film some of the early Christmas parades and stuff like that. Okay. Man, you know, if you want to be inspired, or if you want to feel hopefully inspired, we were watching Casey Neistat's video yesterday, and he's about to go, he's literally, the video was about him getting ready to meet his family for vacation. And so it's just him filming, like basically like a little bit of packing and then driving and trying to catch a ferry to go wherever. And I'm just like so impressed by the fact that he's able to create this type of content every day, and he makes it feel like it's so easy, you know, it's so effortless. So anyways, it does in some ways demotivate me, because like, god dang, he works so fast and efficiently, and he's filming everything. You know, he's like, he's so prepared, and he's turning anything into content. But I don't mean that truly. I feel more motivated than anything, because it's like, damn, if he's able to do all this by himself, he doesn't have a crew with him, it's just him with selfie vlogging style, but able to capture all these different moments, then I have no excuses either. And it also means it's possible to do that. It's really up to me. So Fed, I don't know, maybe that's I mean that for encouragement for you, for like, you know, just going out there and just shooting whatever and turning it into content. And we know you work fast, so that's not a problem for you. It's more a problem for me. Okay, where did I just... Okay, so I just switched these photos over. There you guys are. Okay, and then we got to show parent folder. There we go. Cool. All right, so we've officially migrated all these photos over away from my currently destroyed hard drive to a safer one. So these were the only photos that I had, I guess I had selected for further refinement, which is fine, no complaints. However, I do want to see if I can put this through Dehancer now. So let's go ahead and open this up in Dehancer. I mentioned this before, but my God, I love Dehancer. I've been enjoying it for the video color grading stuff, but it's really stood out to me from a photo editing standpoint as well. So we're going to put it to the test. We're going to try editing a number of my photos throughout these upcoming streams. Tasty. And we'll see how it does. Fed says, I'll definitely film family on vacation videos too. I'll always do that, but it's not going to be content. You know what though? That's, if anything, that's better. Because those are the things that your family will look back on, you know? Your kids will be super appreciative years from now to have that footage. Fed says, yeah, when in Spain, I always bring the camera out whenever we're out and film random stuff, especially in the vacation season when there's a lot of people out and 300,000 plus tourists there. Yep. Oh, look, one of my cats is here. Hello, Nala. She's looking fine and dandy, grooming herself. Where's King Pup? Nala, where's King Pup? You see it? Good girl. Alright, don't know where the other cat is. So, let's check out Dehancer. I did apply Luminar to this shot because I see the light ray. We did a bit of light manipulation, or kind of, what do you call it, shaping of the light to come in from the left side. So let's start from scratch. So I'm over here in Dehancer. We're going to turn on the film profiles. And let's just kind of go through each one. Usually I know my favorite. It's the Kodak Aero Color something something. Kodak Aero Color 4, I think. But it's kind of nice to be able to look through everything. Is there a way? Can I just do up and down? Hells yeah. Oh my God, what a relief. I can just use my keyboard. Okay. So let's just go through everything. This is Fuji Color 100. I like this one quite a bit as well, usually. This one looks not bad. This one looks clean. Fuji Color Superior. How does this compare to the Fuji Color 100? This Fuji Color 100 is a bit warmer. I like this look a lot more. Let me favorite that. Ooh, this one's clean. Of course it is. It's my favorite. Kodak Aero Color 4125. Fed says, I've basically documented the upbringing of my sister's kids. Yeah. Hey, once a photographer, forever, unfortunately, you know? Okay, you know what? This one tends to speak to me the most. Okay, these are fairly similar, though. Let's go with this Fuji Color Superior, just because I want to try new things anyways, or try different ones. So let's say if I choose this film profile. Now it's just like with DaVinci. So now on the right side, I can see all of the different effects I can play with. Generally speaking, I like playing with the film compression, and I usually like increasing the tonal range to 100, and then bringing back the white points where it looks nice, I guess. It's kind of like touch and go. Okay, I hear my hard drive screaming at me. Is there anything connected to that hard drive right now, or can I turn it off? Let's see. Let me see if I can retire my hard drive. Yes. All right. Nothing died. Okay, cool. I disconnected everything. Oh, my boy Mark messaged. Let's see. He says, yes, I still have it. Awesome. Okay, so he still has the Sri Lanka videos from that trip. Ooh, okay. Which is great, because I don't know if I have it. I might have asked him for it, but maybe I never actually received it from him. Okay, let me... Well, he's still messaging me, so we'll see. All right, so like I said, I like to increase the tonal range. But for this shot, honestly, I don't know. Maybe it's... We'll see. Okay. So let's say if I turn that on all the way. Let's turn on the print profile. I like the colors on this one, the Kodak. But then, okay, so Fujifilm gives a bit more of a blue, cooler tone to it. The greens definitely are more noticeable. This one, comparatively, is a bit warmer. It's like kind of right in the middle of the two colors, like warm and cool. Whereas this one definitely leans into the cool. But then the green is just a little bit too, I don't know. Let me think. I don't know why I'm leaning towards a cooler tone. You would think I should lean towards a warmer, because you got like the sunlight coming through. Dun, dun, dun. All right. My buddy's got it. Okay, let me message him. He says, let me know if you need it. Amazing. Yes, if you don't mind, I'm finally reviewing my videos and photos from the trip to make a video vlog. Could I pick it up from you sometime, or pay for shipping, or we can grab coffee, etc. Whatever works, matey. I forgot to do smiley face. Fed says DaVinci 21.02 update today. What? Okay. I mean, is it like a major update, or what is it? Now, one thing I've been doing a lot with my photos of late, actually, not of late, almost forever now. I definitely do enjoy when the photos are much darker. And this is no different. Let me think. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this as we see it, but it looks almost too boring compared to when we were playing with the Kodak and the other one. So it's just a question of, do I want more of that film look style? And do I want to go with a cooler tone or a warmer tone? And I think I want to go towards a cooler tone, honestly. I don't know why. It doesn't even matter how hard I try. Let's do that. And we'll drop it down a bit. Obviously very dark. I just wanted to put it to the limits. Okay, I think that's probably okay. Let's turn on the range limiter, and then maybe from there I'll see if I can. Nah, I think it's better this way. Add a little bit of that film grain. I have been enjoying putting some film grain to my photos. 1 second, he messaged back. Rove Healthcare, where's where is Rove? Fed says some bug fixes, ADN stuff, ADN, nothing big. Okay. Well, either way, I'm excited. It's good to know. Okay. So I was mentioning I've been enjoying applying a bit of grain to my photos through Dehancer. So, which is kind of like, I mean, it is a style, I guess. But normally you would expect you should have shots that are very clean. But I've been enjoying this kind of film look. I've been enjoying halation as well, but here it looks a little bit odd because it's like really patchy the way it's being applied. So I won't do that. What about the bloom effect? Bloom here could technically work. Because we've got like sunlight cutting through the shadows, through the canopy to light up the leopard. And so a little bit of bloom could actually make it feel more angelic, or I don't know, something nicer. But one thing I don't like about the bloom effect right now is it is making the eyes a bit hazier. Whereas without the bloom, the sharpness on the eyes are clean, it's tack sharp. So I don't want to actually lose that. So we're going to keep it without the bloom. And I think everything else is fine. Vignetting, maybe. We'll see how it applies. Yeah, I think we can apply a bit of vignette. Let me reshape it though. I usually prefer having a bit like a wider... something like this. Okay. All right. Going once, going twice. I think I like how this looks. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so let's go ahead and hit OK. Fed says, looks more like a film photo with grain, I guess. Yeah, listen, in some ways, because I didn't grow up with film photography, I don't know what the rules of engagement are when it comes to emulating a film look, which I take as a good thing because, we talk about photography as an art form, which means it should be very subjective. It should mean you have creative freedom and license to kind of break the rules. And I don't know what the rules are to begin with, so whatever I do, it's just whatever I feel like doing. So what's our before and after? Let me see if I can find a good way to showcase that. Maybe if I turn off the rating. Let me check none. Let's just grab the cropping tool. This is, I think, different photos. Let me see. This is 371, 372. Can I find the original 372? This is the original one. Whatever. It's similar enough that let's just... Dang it. Okay, fine. No, what the heck? Oh, okay, maybe I have to copy from this one. Okay, you get the point. Basically, we went from something like this. So this is the raw photo. Zoomed in quite a bit. Then this is the version I had created at some point, right? So after I did my own, edits, presets, blah, blah, blah. And then the final step of putting it through Dehancer gave me this final look. And I aim to please only myself, okay? But I like how this looks quite a bit. In fact, I feel like the graininess actually does a good job of fixing something that I did. Like, I don't want to say error, but like when you look at the way I edited this photo, obviously I say obviously, but I removed all the texture from the background, which then makes everything a bit flatter, a bit like, I don't know, distorted or warpy, I guess, right? It's like all this blurriness and all that, which is nice to kind of soften everything so the focus goes on the subject, but it can also look very unnatural. So by adding in that kind of grain, it does add a bit of texture back to everything, just enough to give it a bit more shape and substance without being too distracting. Yo, we got Maple in the chat, and we got Katzenellen Boggin. Hello guys, how's it going? Maple with the epic emotes and says, shot is looking great. Thank you very much. I've been really excited with, I feel like I discovered a new element on the periodic table or something. I don't know, something nerdy. I've been using Dehancer with my video post-production color grading stuff, but I didn't realize how good it is for my photo edits. And it really has transformed my recent photos that I've taken. Case in point, or proof point, is from my Instagram. Actually, can I plug my Instagram? And then let me see if I can find it. Let me show you guys. I mean, I could just show it from Lightroom. What the hell? Let's do that. Where was it? It was Mongolia. How's it going, Maple? How's it going, Katzenellen Boggin? Katzenellen says, it's been a while. Yeah, I didn't stream for about a week. After I had some hard drive issues, I kind of took some time off to try to figure that out, and I was too nervous to kind of continue editing stuff from there until I had a solution for it. Jesus, where are my photos? It would be under Mongolia. This one? Yes, this one. All right. All right, check it, guys. Oh, unfortunately, though, I turned off the hard drive that it's all connected to, but I should be fine enough. Dang it. Here. I'll just do it from my physical hard drive here. Top photos. Mongolia. All right, here you go. Check this out, guys. I hope you guys enjoy these shots I'm going to show you. Daytor says hello to Maple. Yes, we got the OG Maple in the chat. Yo, Maple. Oh, I should DM it to you. I saw some YouTube video of someone who broke down how he's got an IRL streaming setup with like the Bella box, and he's got like an OC streaming video switcher inside a backpack so that he could switch between like 3 or 4 different camera sources, like a Sony camcorder, an Action 4, I think it was an Osmo Pocket as well. But it was kind of a nifty thing. I sent it over to Cyronius. I should have sent it to you as well. Katzenellen says, I'm working on a website so I can finally post my projects. Mitmat, yeah, I watched it. It was on Cliff's channel. I think you're saying the right things. I don't remember who the creators were, but yeah, I think maybe we're talking about the same thing. So guys, these were all shot. Well, not all of these. No, actually all of these. These were, I had my photos and then I ran it through Dehancer. And so these are all the final outputs from my photos after I applied Dehancer to it. And in my opinion, I think these photos ended up turning out measurably better than the way I had edited it. Not to say that I'm not like knocking my edit style. I feel like obviously I'm happy with how I edit things. But once I put it through Dehancer, it did feel like I was missing a whole personality to the photos. I think that's how I described it before. Like before, the photos looked great, but there was no soul to the images. And I feel like with the Dehancer, it just gave it a little bit of a pop to each of them. So all of these were like, I ran it through Dehancer. You can see some of the photos on my Instagram page. I've started to share some of them in recent times. I'm trying to get through all the Mongolia photos. I have plenty, that's why. But yeah. Maple says Mitmat. That's okay. A little over-engineered for the sake of chat being able to change. Yeah, okay. We are talking about the same thing. Because I kind of glossed over the video, but there was some mention about, I think it was in the title, how the chat can change the camera angles when they want to, which is kind of cool. Because if for my purposes, if I'm just traveling on my own for some of these things, it would be nice if I can delegate that to the chat. So in some ways, it's like the chat works for you. But yeah. Katzenellenbogen says, the photos are great, but my question is, how cold was it? It was negative 40 degrees. So there's your answer. I think I was basically at the place where the word cold originated, okay? I'm in like the middle of, you know, nowhere, Mongolia, like in the northwestern tip of Mongolia. What I refer to as the wild, wild east. And my God, it's like, how did people survive? How do animals, well, you can see how these animals survive. Look how fluffy the animals are. This is the Bactrian camel, the double-humped camel. Who knew that the camels would end up being one of my favorite animal subjects to photograph? I never would have expected it. But it's because they're so goddamn fluffy. You know, you can see it in these images, but that's how they survive negative 40 degrees, is because, you know, they're all coat. But there are so many cool shots from this trip for sure because of the fur coat style. This was a missed moment for me. There's a world where I could have an award-winning photo, okay? Maybe not that far, but there was a third camel here. You can see the neck of the third camel, and it was I say perfect, but it was a really interesting color scheme. There's like this dark camel, and then you had this beige, almost albino kind of style camel in the middle, and then another darker one in the background. So it would have been like a nice Oreo effect. But there was a moment where two of the three camels both looked over to the left. I forget why, but they were both looking at something in the distance, obviously to my left. And so I took this photo, but I was obviously hoping to get a shot where all three of them would strike the same pose. And, you know, God, that would have been such a cool layered effect and like this kind of unison shot. And then I would have framed it differently, obviously. But unfortunately, you can't get what you want always with animals in nature. I'm happy with the shot, but my God, there was a world where it's like, can you imagine all three of these camels stacked nicely, all angled, looking the same way and everything? Oh, yeah, missed moments. Katzenellenbogen says, yeah, they look like stuffed animals. Yeah, yeah, exactly. This ended up being one of my favorite shots. Yeah, I posted a series of these like eagle hunter portraits that I had captured, asking if people can tell me what their favorite was and stuff like that. This one actually ended up being, when I took the photo when I was editing, I thought it was great, but because the background didn't do much, like you just get a bit of snowy background. You can kind of see a little bit of texture because there was a large mountain in the, so this is like kind of snowy mountain in the background. But it wasn't as colorful as some of the other examples I had. But what this photo has going for it, in my opinion, is there's a good composition where, you know, you have the eagle on the top left third, then you've got the hunter in the center-ish, and then you've got the horse in the bottom right third. So there's a little bit of a better balancing effect. And the way I had edited, I was trying to shape the light such that there was some light coming in from the top right to mimic like sunlight from that direction. And the way it kind of falls on the eagle and the hunter, I kind of like it. It's a very clean feeling. So that photo in particular has grown on me more than I expected it to. Compared to like even a shot like this, you got so much color, but it's not the cleanest colors in the background. You know, it's like you got a little bit of harsh edges there, but it is a more, you know, exciting image. And then these turned out so awesome. I'm really happy with the lighting here. And so we got the eagle is landing basically moment, and then so it's a 3-part series. You got 1, 2, and then 3. Katzenellenbogen says, the problem I always have, happy with the photos until you see them on Lightroom Classic. And you're like, I should have waited a little longer or moved more to the right. Yeah. But, you know, it's like one of those things where you find happiness in the numbers, essentially. You know, it's like, I'd never expect greatness out of my images. I just hope that because I machine gun photo everything, that something in there will be a hit. So yeah. So this photo was kind of nice too for the background texture. So yeah, all of this was with Dehancer. And again, the original photos were, I really like them, but with the Dehancer effect, it just gave it a nice fluffiness. So these horses turned out really nice as well. And I think part of the reason I've been enjoying this look is because of the grain. So I do think I will continue to apply some of this kind of film grain effect to my images, excuse me, going forward. Another thing that I mentioned that I want to apply, at least for my future photos or trips when it comes to editing, is trying to do a lot more of this kind of super wide angle framing. So this is one example of that, where I do slightly wider than like a 16:9. So there's a few versions of that, like this kind of shot. I forget what it was. It might be 16:5. Yeah. So trying to do these kind of super wide angle shots more often. Anyways, so sorry, we got distracted, but those were shots from my Mongolia trip. I've shared a bunch of it on my Instagram, and it's also using Dehancer across these images. So I've been very, very happy with it. So I was like, okay, might as well apply it to my edits going forward. So we've got the leopard shot right now, which has turned out quite nice. I like it a lot. We'll apply it to these other photos. Let's see, how can we salvage this shot? Okay, now that I'm back into the groove of things, I wanted to watch some YouTube videos while we do this. We had a Casey Neistat video loaded up. Let's go ahead and play it. Let's pause the music.
Fell out of my pocket. They ejected. One landed here, and the other one went down the hole.
You dropped your AirPod?
Do you see it? Do you see it, or is it gone?
Gone.
Oh man.
Oh no, I wasn't paying attention. He dropped his AirPod.
See it? Do you see it, or is it gone?
Gone.
R.I.P.
Oh man. Well, that sucks. You know what else sucks? According to Jennifer Lopez, I'm not a New Yorker.
I don't know where he's going with that. One thing I do like also about the Dehancer program is when I click on a photo to apply Dehancer onto it, so it opens up the plugin, and it does save my last edits. So I can create these presets and stuff like that, but it also has this saved for me, so I can see exactly how I edited the last photo, and then I can just apply it going forward. So yeah. Katzenella Boggin says, or asks, can I get your website to look through your photos? Yeah. Do I have my photos on my website? I have my presets on there. Here, let me just put, let me share you the HTTP. Do I just do exclamation mark website? Do I even have that as a website? Let's see if it works. Nope. It's YobelPrize.com. HTTPS YobelPrize.com. And then if you want to see like most of my photos, it is on my Instagram. So Instagram is the place to go for my photos more than the other stuff. Okay, I just spammed a bunch of things, but thanks for your interest, Katzenella Boggin. Let me know your thoughts, what you think about it. And if you want to purchase my presets, let me know. I have a promo code. I think it's YobelPrize to get like 10% off or something. All right. Anyways, let's keep watching this.
Do you have
one thing, I don't like how the grain looks on this shot in particular. It makes it look, there's like the difference between the graininess that looks intentional and the graininess like here, where it just makes everything a little bit blurry and ugly. So I'll probably turn it off.
Well, that sucks. You know what else sucks? According to Jennifer Lopez, I'm not a New Yorker.
You have to be born in New York to be a New Yorker.
What?
Everybody wants to claim our
Damn.
city, but you have to be born.
Wait a second. Does she really mean that? You have to be born in New York to be a New Yorker? I don't know. There's a lot of weirdness with saying something like that when it comes to like immigrants then. Because you could apply that to a broader spectrum of like, imagine if someone said that about you have to be born in America, you know, you have to be born in the US to be an American. I don't know. If you broaden that logic, it gets a little hairy.
In New York, you have to be born in one of the 5 boroughs to be a New Yorker.
Jesus.
Now, I have a bit of a hot take for Jennifer Lopez. Okay.
I'm going to tell you right now, whatever Casey's opinion is, I'm probably going to agree with. I feel like he just has his head on straight. Let's see. Let's see if I'm going to eat my words.
All right, this is my hot take back to Jennifer Lopez. This is controversial.
Ooh.
I completely agree with J-Lo. What's your name?
Casey's so right. Everything he says is just so smart. Yeah, of course Jennifer Lopez is right. Well, he did say it's a hot take, so, and to be fair, I've never lived in New York City, so maybe let him explain, I guess. I'm curious where he's going to go with this. I still disagree, so we'll see.
My name is Zephyr.
Zephyr, where are you from?
I'm from New York.
Okay, do you think you have to be born in New York to be a New Yorker?
I think you can live here long enough to be a New Yorker.
I agree with this lady. Yeah, because I was just thinking to myself, okay, imagine just, you know, because sometimes I think you have to take some arguments to the extreme to kind of stress test it. But imagine you weren't born in New York City, but you literally moved here when you were 1 day old. You were born in Arizona, and then your family, you know, your parents flew you out to New York and moved there the next day. And basically you grew up there. You just weren't literally born there, right? At that point, obviously you'd be like, what's the difference between having just been birthed 1 day ago in New York City versus living there besides that 1 day? So obviously Casey or Jennifer Lopez probably don't really mean that to the literal extreme, but at the very least, that statement, then I would say they're being controversial, but they don't actually mean it.
But
Now, there was a time when I would have disagreed with J-Lo. See, I would have said, I've lived in this city for almost 3 decades. I've lived here since I was a teenager. This city's all I know. I've probably lived in this city longer than you have, J-Lo. You left when you started to blow up. I'm here. But that view changed when I had kids.
Okay.
Watching your kids grow up in this city, you realize they're just a different person. They're a different breed. Your most formative years as a little kid, you grew up here. That makes you a very special, very different kind of person. I'll never be that New Yorker. Do you think you have to be born in New York City to be a New Yorker?
No, not really.
Why do you say it with such confidence?
Because I've been here since 1982.
Since 1982.
I've been on Wall Street since 1990.
But you weren't born here.
No.
But you're a New Yorker.
That's absolutely 100%.
I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
What's your name?
I'm Tony.
Tony, I'm Casey. Nice.
How is Casey going to argue against that? I'm curious. Because this guy, he's like, die hard. It's like, hells yeah, you're not going to convince me. That's my life, bro. What the hell?
Nice to meet
Nice
you.
to meet you, Casey.
You see, guys like Tony and me, people who weren't born in this city, it's more like we were adopted by this city. And because of that, we have to earn our stripes.
Man, he's saying some real controversial stuff, in my opinion. Fed says Canadians are Americans too. Yeah, that's you saw me catch myself because I know us Americans, like U.S., you know, North America. You can't even say that. We've kind of stolen the term American to mean just the U.S. So I totally get that. But it's because we're better, you know. What can you say? But yeah, man, even Casey's going even far enough to say like, whoa. It's like we were adopted. It's like, oh, so you're saying being adopted doesn't make you, are you saying it's inferior? You have to work harder to earn your stripes? I don't know. It's like, I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I do disagree with this. Fed says, I guess there are many different types of New Yorkers, hence why people may say I'm a New Yorker born and raised. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with saying like, you're a flavor of being a New Yorker. you're the type of New Yorker where it's been your entire life. So could you call yourself the authentic, or I don't know, like it feels weird to say purebred, but like, yeah, I mean, that's your entire personality, I guess. But I don't know. I feel like New York City, or being a New Yorker, is more a way of living, or I feel like, what do you call it? Not to say it's a personality, but the way I imagine it is it's like you're embodying a certain spirit, right? There's something about being a New Yorker in the same way you would call, like, you know, are you an American, and how you call yourself that. And there's a bit of like pride and patriotism, I'm assuming, that comes with it. There's a way of life that you've kind of agreed to that, you know, abides by the American way or something. You know, like, I'm sure there are some like core principles or like a way of living that you could apply to a certain, you know, a New Yorker. I don't think you have to be born there, you know?
You earned your stripes.
I also don't think you have to earn
By the
it.
time I got off the plane.
Casey Neistat, what the fuck? Now, earning your stripes as a New Yorker is a responsibility I take extremely seriously. And every once in a while, I'm honored with an acknowledgement of my assumption of that responsibility. This morning is one such day. No one said this, but for me, this morning I'm being honored. I'm not getting my own ticker tape parade. There's no mayoral ceremony with a crowd where they hand me a golden key. It's not that kind of honor. But in my opinion, this is no less significant. There it is. That's it right there. You see this clock right here? That is the Seth Thomas Tower clock. The Seth Thomas.
See, Fed, I know you don't show your face on the camera, but regardless, I feel like it's still really interesting to see how Casey is able to create these like daily vlog episodes. And he, like I said, it's so effortless. He's just, oh, I guess you can see it in the reflection of his sunglasses. So he's got his, I'm assuming he shoots with like Sony or Canon or something. So he's got his mirrorless with a shotgun mic on top. And then he's just got it on a proper tripod. It looks like an actual like heavy duty tripod, if I'm not, I don't know, it's hard to say, but yeah. And then he just goes out into the city and records himself for however many minutes.
Thomas Tower clock is the only mechanical clock in all of New York City. And once every week or 2 weeks or something, it has to be manually wound. And this woman named Victoria, who's
And he doesn't even, I mean, he's not even applying any ND filters or anything. It's just like super blown out exposure. But, you know, I guess it kind of works too, you know? It makes it feel more authentic in the moment. Fed says, we have a word for people from Stavanger cities, and there are rules to be an ekta cities, including you have to be born and raised in Stavanger. So I get what they're saying. You can be an honorary citis if you lived here a long time. People who move here will usually have strong opinions too, that they are not ekta citis, instead they are the equivalent from the city they are from. Okay. I mean, I get the sentiment, don't get me wrong. You know, I get the whole point of like saying, you know, they're posers. We use the term a lot growing up, posers, which are the people who are fake, who are posing as if they are one of you, or whatever that is, right? So it's like, or you have I think, what's the term for sports? Fair weather fan? I think that's another term. You have like people, or like people who jump on the bandwagon. That's another phrase. So let's say if there's a popular sports team and they're always winning, or they have some crazy underdog story and they're just blowing through all the competition. It came out of nowhere. It just becomes easy for people to be like, oh yeah, that's my team. But it's like, you're not a diehard fan. You just kind of adopted it. So I get the sentiment, and I imagine the same thing. If you were born and raised in New York City, you know, like you've seen the history of it. You've seen how the city has changed throughout the years. you know, you create all your formative memories and everything that comes with it throughout. And then you see someone who just moved here a year ago and they're basically, you know, you'd be like, you're not on the same, you know, you're not on the same playing field as me, bro. Like, how can you say you're more of a diehard New Yorker? How can you say you're more of an authentic New Yorker than I am? So yeah, to that extent, I mean, I can agree with the sentiment. True Scotsman, says Fed. Yeah.
Who's in charge of this whole plaza here called Bogardus Plaza. She picks the people who get to wind it. And today, I'm that person. What an honor.
That's cool. See, even something like that, this is where I do kind of wish I was in New York City. I mean, it doesn't have to be New York City specifically, but it's one of those things that unfortunately Dubai does not really have that yet. It's too young of a city. It's only like, what, it's 50, 60 years old. It hasn't seen enough of life to build out like this feeling of genuine cultural history and like these random things that happen on a random street. So I don't even know where Casey's going with this, but the way he described it is like, really? You have you have a lady who designates who can wind this clock every so often. That's such a cool, like a cool discoverable fact, you know, random facts about the city and the way it works. And it's like, damn, you know, that doesn't just come about randomly. It had to come through time.
Hey.
I'm Tori.
Nice to meet you, Tori.
Nice to meet you too.
Hey, I'm Casey.
Chris, good to meet you.
Chris, hi.
I'm Caitlin.
Caitlin?
Nice
Oh,
to meet
Chris.
you.
Oh, she made it.
You know what's so funny? I saw it on Instagram and I immediately called him. I'm like, you have to wind the clock. You're perfect for winding the clock. Yeah.
And there he is.
Okay, so what happens now?
Dun, 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 dun. We teach you how to wind the clock. So that first thing is a clock lesson.
How do I get one of those keys?
Okay. I feel like I need to send this to my editor as well because, what is it? It's only 6 minutes long, 6.5 minutes. And this entire video is just such a simple premise. Or it's like he's just going to freaking wind a clock. And of course, like, there's the added benefit of this is Casey. He's obviously a well-known individual. He's a celebrity. So anything he do will be considered interesting because he's built in that over time. But it's kind of nice to know that you can just take a simple story and bake in all the relevant parts to make it a YouTube video. So I need to maybe think about the same things. Like, okay, every time I travel, every day, if I'm going out, there's got to be a bunch of these kind of small stories. And think of it as like, that is one YouTube video. So I wake up and whatever the story could be, I don't know. I got to think about these things, but yeah, this is good.
No, not gonna happen. Okay. Oh my goodness. Wow. So when we're cranking it, we're raising that
Cranking
weight
it.
up.
Yeah, you're gonna raise it up, and you're probably gonna raise it up about to here.
This is the crank, and the crank goes on there. What do you think?
It's really cool. You know I like old stuff.
Did you touch it?
Yes,
Is it cool?
it's hot.
You want to touch it, George?
Oh, that's so cute. That's this big man. You have to stop.
Did you know that this is the only manual clock in New York City?
No,
Yes.
no. I've never seen it open.
I did my winding. I brought, this is the weight, and I brought the weight from down here to up here, and then the weight falls, and that's what makes it tick. So Jennifer Lopez, I might not be the New York.
Oh, wait. And that's also cool. I got to keep this in mind as well. Hold on. Fed says Craig Whitson is an honorary citizen, originally from Oklahoma. He basically brought American-style barbecue to Stavanger, so people love him. Nice. Man, food is like... I feel like all the world, all the wars and everything that goes on in the world could all be solved. There could be peace amongst everyone if we could just like somehow bond over food somehow, you know? Oh yeah, the other thing I was gonna say, what I like about this video is he's doing that, like, I don't know, is there a term for this kind of storytelling where he's got like an A and a B storyline? Like the whole title of this is about Jennifer Lopez and about what it means to be a New Yorker. And then he's got his B line where he's winding a clock, right? But somehow he's mixing in both of those stories in such a nice, in my opinion, in a way where it feels like it's delivering with good hits. I don't know what you would call this though. Is it just like an A line, A story and a B story, something like that?
New Yorker. So Jennifer Lopez, I might not be the New Yorker that was born in New York, but I got to wind the clock. And that's got to count for something.
And he's got the payoff at the end, connecting those two random stories together. I think that's great.
Where do you live now? You live in California?
I live in LA.
LA.
Oh, burn. I like this. Well, good job as always, Casey. Let me copy this note. Where's my Notion? I had it set up here. Yeah. Let's just copy this over. Casey Neistat. And I like the simplicity of how he shoots his vlogs. Also, storytelling, how he combines an A and B storyline, a Jennifer Lopez, and what it means to be a New Yorker. B, Casey winds an old clock. Cool. All right. Good. Thank you, Casey. Jesus, that was 5 days ago, and it's got 1.2 million views. This guy on another level. What do the comments say? I live in LA. What an ending. Yeah, that was a good ending. I agree. Gatekeeping a city you only visit for press tours is crazy. The ending hits hard. Man, you did a good job, man. Casey is the New Yorker. Yeah, I agree. Okay, anyways. Good video. Maple says, met him at the airport with, who's Dan Mace? I don't know anyone. Let's look this guy up. Dan Mace. Met him at the airport with Dan Mace, and being on the receiving side of the intense content creator energy is very different from watching the vlog later. I didn't make it into the edit, but it was strange to watch the content creation in person. Honestly, didn't like the vibe. Interesting. Could you elaborate? Are you saying because like everything is so staged? Like, because that is the other thought I had, is like oftentimes, you know, he's clearly having to set up the camera, you know, imagine setting it up inside the car, and then you go in, you open the car door, you put your camera on the passenger side, you hit record, you close the car door, you walk away, then you walk back to open the door just to get the shot. And obviously those kind of moments, I feel very, I don't know, it feels awkward for me to do those types of things, but I also get that that's necessary as a solo creator. Yo, we got King Kruk. Long time no see. Joe Bell. Have been enjoying Nikon NX for photo editing. Nikon NX. What language are you speaking there? Nikon NX. Oh, the NX Studio. Interesting. I've never used this. Okay. I've never used this. I'm so deep into Lightroom. And King Kruk, by the way, one thing I was mentioning is that I've been using a tool called Dehancer. And that has kind of taken over my photo editing style now, where I think I'm stuck in Lightroom / Dehancer now. But I'm always keen to try new things. And I shoot with all Nikon, so I'm curious what you mean by this Nikon NX. Long time no see, King Kruk. It's been a while. Hopefully you're doing well. Hopefully you've been enjoying doing some photo shoots and video stuff. Maple says it's just super high energy content brained with cameras in faces, and the poor lady getting their plane tickets rearranged because they were late to the flight, etc. I was like, this is going to be great content. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. But the lady's like, here are your tickets, just trying to do her job and stuff. You know, you bring up a good point, obviously, of like the only version of these creators that we see online that we ever get to see tends to be the persona that they are shaping for us. Whereas to your point, when you get to see them actually, when the veil is lifted and you see how the sausage is made, sometimes you don't like the process because it kind of shows you something dirty. It shows you, you know, the more human side of the creators. So I get what you're saying there. It's like if you're so embedded into content creation such that every moment you're thinking from that perspective and you can't enjoy the moment. You know what? I was just telling this to our fellow chat member DTK because he said it was his birthday and he's like freaking 14 years old. And this kid like lives and breathes content stuff. He's like really good at video editing and shooting and stuff. So I did give him the advice. So I was like, you know what? For your birthday, instead of assuming that you're going to record everything and turning into like content about, hey, it's my birthday, what if you were to, you know, put the phones away, the cameras away? But impossible. It's entertaining to watch, but it turned, hold on one second. Let me just find the photos to edit for today. Must be these 3-star ones. It's entertaining to watch, but it turned me off from wanting to vlog and shoot content when you're being annoying in public and obnoxious, etc. Even if it's not intentionally obnoxious, it does kind of get in everyone's way at times. Yeah, I think there's got to be a good balance for sure. Thankfully, for my type of vlogging, I'm not really in anyone's way because I'm going to be out in the wild more often than not. But like, you know, so if anything, I'm more annoying animals than I am humans, which also has its flaws. You know, I got attacked by a chimp because I got a little too close. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's like trying to make sure it's with anything really, but just making sure not to be a nuisance. And I think I don't really struggle with. I don't think I ever have to be concerned that I'm gonna do something that annoys people or I'm doing something I shouldn't. It's just not in me. I swear. Streaming IRL is one thing, but doing the vlog stuff and contentifying every aspect of your life is a little more intense. Yeah, I'd vlog and stream far away from people, etc., which is what I do. Yeah, you bring up good points. It's funny you say that because right now, some of the content that I'm working on for my YouTube channel are my travel vlogs. So actually, I can show you guys a little bit of the behind the scenes. By the way, look at how this photo turned out just by reapplying the edits that I had from the last photo I was editing within Dehancer. I love this. It already looks great. I don't need to really change anything. I'll probably just end up keeping this. But in my opinion, this looks so much better, right? Like, to me anyways. Like, I feel like, what is this? Yeah, it's got a little bit of grain. Do I want to apply the halation maybe? We'll see. Why not? Why not? No, we'll turn it off. It looks good. Let me just hit OK on this. Let me show you guys, because this is what I was working on throughout the past week when I wasn't streaming, just because when I had my camera problems. Fed says that's usually true for any content creator out in the wild. Walking around talking to a camera is insufferable to look at when you see it live. Yo, it feels so awkward to film myself and talk, but it's definitely something I've had to get over. Like at some point you have to do it. So I do have a bunch of those as well. I don't get the same reaction when I see someone snapping photos or filming something. Here, okay, let me show you guys, because this is going to be part of episode 1. Where would it be? I don't think I talked in this one. So basically, I just have a bunch of these random moments for every day. So I've finally gone through every single day of my trips across Munich, Uganda, and Tanzania. And I have all of the color graded footage. These were all exported at 1080. So, because the problem is like to send all of this to my editor is impossible because if I were to give him all my 4K footage, color graded, it's just too much. So right now what we're trying to see is if I send him all the relevant files as a 1080 file, basically like a proxy file, and then he works off of that, and then he can send me the project timeline later. That's what we're gonna work with. Fingers crossed. But yeah, so guys, you can see this was my entire trip. I'll go through this footage actually. And this is me using that Osmo Nano. So this was this, having this guy. I swear by this camera here. This is such an amazing piece of tech. Just putting it on my hat, or if it was too obvious on the hat, sometimes in the airport, I think I just had it as a necklace. So I just had the chest necklace thing, and then put it there. Oh, by the way, Maple, I made this point earlier, but one cool thing, because I know you do all the cool effects, like your stream always looks amazing, but who knew that if you I put an Elgato teleprompter on the front of my camera, and it's created this nice glowy effect on all my light sources. So it kind of looks nice now. It's almost like I've applied some LUT onto it, but really I haven't. I just physically applied a LUT. Okay. This is at the airport. One of the things I swear by is airport lounges. One of the best benefits I have on my credit card is the access to all these like priority pass lounge service. And so this was in Istanbul. They have one of the best lounges I've been in. It's a massive one. And it's even got a locker. And then from there, so I just stored away some of my stuff. And then I was just showing the experience, but basically, let's play this out. Look at this crazy ass lounge. But honestly, having lounge access is the one thing, if you travel as much as I have, it's like it can make or break you. And having this access just honestly makes life so much better. Look at this. Look how crazy this lounge is. They have all the food in the world. They've got this entire balcony area, essentially, or like, I don't know what you call it, patio, overlooking the airport. Also, the Istanbul airport is itself like quite impressive. They have two major international airports. I forget the name of this one. So the point is, I recorded everything. I color graded everything for every single day of my trip. I've got like I've got all the clips behind the scenes. You can see how I was recording different moments. So it's kind of, man, it's been great having this Osmo Nano and the Action 6. So now you can actually see how I'm making my vlogs or whatever I end up shooting. So you get the behind the scenes. Then of course you have the actual moments. So this is why I was like, I need to send him all these files in 1080 because I have so many footage for him to review. And these color grading, it's probably not finalized. I figured if I send him the proxies and he sends it back, I can always do the grading later. So then this also speeds up the editing process where I can just give him quicker access to everything I have. But yeah, basically I have this for every single day of the trip. Even the plane ride, you can see when I was, you know, trying to shoot different moments here and there. Oh, sorry. This is our guide, Milton. He's been my guide every Uganda trip, basically. He's one of the best. So it's always, I always specifically ask for him on my trips. So yeah, the goal will be, as I show some of these behind the scenes, these moments I'll just have to apply some voiceover. Other times I'll do the thing that Fed you're talking about where you see me flip the camera and do the actual selfie moment, which can be very awkward at times, but you know, you have to live with it. Let me see if I can show you examples of that. Let's see, I think it's on this day. All right, here's an example, right? Well, this one's a little bit more staged because I would just set it up in my room. And so then I have a few minutes where I talk in front of the camera. This is right after I was recovering from the neck injury from that toxic Nairobi fly. So yeah, there'll be just mixes of all these kind of different moments. You get the Nikon ZR footage. So we'll have the more color graded stuff. Man, I did end up getting some really cool shots. One thing I'm doing more of is like learning how to do more masking when it comes to my video color grading. And I was trying a bit of the magic mask, which is not the easiest, by the way, but we do have some shots here that I think will be really nice in like the 4K, moments. Yeah, so this turned out nice. There's at least one moment. Yeah, so this is like the hero shot. So this part here somewhere I'll put into the opening trailer and stuff like that. Fed says it's the act of selfie filming. If I see someone being filmed by someone else and talking, it doesn't make me cringe either. It's the selfie filming. Yeah, I know what you're saying, man. It feels weird because then you're seeing someone talking to nobody. At least if there's someone holding the camera, it gives enough of a buffer to be like, oh, he's just talking to the cameraman. But to see the person holding the camera and talking, there's also like, obviously we have some negative connotations when it comes to content creators, especially the types that you see in movies. Like what's the one I watched recently? Superman, the latest Superman, the James Gunn one, where one of the characters, you see her taking a selfie of herself while there's an epic fight going on behind her. King says, I'm with you. It's hard to replace Lightroom or Photoshop. I did replace Premiere with DaVinci. Well, welcome to the DaVinci family. That one I can definitely stand by. Let me see if I can show you from Tanzania, for example. Oh yeah, see, Fed. Here are the moments you were talking about. You cringe because I'm doing selfie. Hello. Testing. I'm with Amani. I think you picked me up. So then yeah, I gotta pick different moments from here. And this will be a future episode.
All right. We're not bit covered. Person back in the.
Hey guys, give me. And then here, same thing, but now obviously I'm not holding the camera. I just set it up at a distance and then I talk. So, yeah, man. Point is, there's gonna be a mixture of different types of shots throughout. Now, I've got some action cameras. I've got the cinematic shots. I've got the selfie moments. I'll have my talking head from home. And I also have voiceovers. So applying all of that together, hopefully I'll be able to create a nice series of episodes from my most recent travels, because that was like 2 months of traveling. So I figure this way I can turn it into an episodic, I can turn it into a series instead of stuffing everything into a single video that's like 30 minutes long or whatever. Now I can give you guys a bit more digestible pieces of my trip. Kind of like Casey Neistat, like his style of just like having 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 10 minutes. And inside of that, telling enough of a story that you give it room to breathe and like actually settle in without rushing it and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of my goal right now, is figuring out what is the right chunk of content from my travel vlogs to turn into something you guys will enjoy. Anyways, all right, so here's that dehancer look though. Love it. So here's how I edited the shot, and here's what it looks like once we applied dehancer to it, and I stand by dehancer. But you know what? It's dehancer plus my photo presets. That's how I view it. We couldn't get to this result without first going through my editing process. So I've gone through the process, and then I use dehancer as like the finishing touches, if you will. All right, where were we? Nikon NX. So King Kruk, you're going to have to tell us more about that if it works out well. And oh yeah, Maple mentioned Dan Mace, a South African filmmaker. Okay. I don't know anything about this guy. Let's search him. Dan Mace. Almost a milli subscribers, filmmaker and CCO of Beast Philanthropy. Okay. Why did Casey Neistat fire Dan Mace? Oh, Dan Mace was the video editor for Casey Neistat. Okay. Interesting. Okay, let's watch this video because now I'm intrigued, I guess. I don't know who this character is.
Why did Casey Neistat?
Okay, we're going to watch. We're going to learn about this guy named Dan Mace and Casey Neistat.
Fire Dan. Why did Casey Neistat fire Dan Mace as his video editor?
I can't tell you how excited I am to finally have Dan here, like a true creative partner.
He tried to make it work, okay? He had basically wrapped up this long-standing effort to do his daily vlog series, and he was starting a new daily vlog series for this company he had started, 368.
When I did the vlog, I would shoot all day, edit all night, post the next morning. That worked. For 368 though, I shoot all day, I edit all night, and then the next morning, instead of posting, I give that edit to Dan.
So he took Dan and he hired him from South Africa.
And I moved him from South Africa to New York
as his editor to create this daily vlog series.
Now this is all theory, and we've only done 2 edits so far. And it's really complicated. They both are disasters.
And in thinking about this question, what I arrived at was this idea of artistic delegation. Can an artist effectively delegate their work to somebody else and still have it be their work, their art?
After 2 weeks, I was like, this is taking 10 times as long and the videos are half as good. Like, you're completely fired.
Most of the time we think of delegation as this sort of operational decision. But in this case, it's really a creative decision. And I think the framework that explains this best actually comes from an unexpected place, conceptual art.
I know this song. Is this from Artlist or I forget where I got this song.
What is conceptual art? I want to define it, and I am not I'm not the person to be defining this. I don't know that I'm actually qualified to be talking about any of this shit, but I find it interesting, so I'm going to keep going. And so I'm just going to read you Sol LeWitt's definition of conceptual art. He says, in conceptual art, the idea or concept is the most important aspect of the work. When an artist uses a conceptual form of art, it means that all of the planning and decisions are made beforehand, and the execution is a performance.
Fed says, at least you're with other people. It's not as cringe. Also, placing the camera eliminates a lot of the cringe. Could be a cameraman. No one knows. Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. I'm embracing the cringe. And I think it's like a necessary part of your evolution, your development, your growth as a content creator is kind of becoming more shameless, you know? I can learn a lot from my dad for this because he's the most shameless person I know. In reality now, he probably is autistic is what it is. But, you know, he's part of that old school class that didn't go to a doctor, didn't know what that meant or anything. But the point is he's very shameless. And it can be very embarrassing to be around someone who's shameless. But being the shameless person, it means you can do a lot of things that most people will never attempt to do because it's too embarrassing or whatever. So I think it's a necessary step to put yourself out there more. Because then you realize the things that are cringe, it's probably still going to be cringe. But it's like, it's the price you pay, and the cost is actually not that bad. It's just you sacrifice a little bit of your not self-worth, but you know, you sacrifice a little bit of like, you know, being cringe, and in return you end up creating content or being able to create more types of stuff. Because you also realize that for every one person who finds it cringe, including yourself, there's enough people out in the world that will find it enjoyable, or can overlook the cringe, or doesn't even view it as cringe. It doesn't register that same way. And so then you're able to create it, you know, actually even the concept of live streaming, right? Like me talking to a camera, this is also to many people very awkward and cringe. And even when I started, the thought, like, I was like, do I even try doing live stream? Because it's going to be so awkward talking to a wall and no one's there. And you got to do this for how long? Like, you're just talking to yourself, man. So even that could be considered very cringe, right? If someone were to walk in right now and just see me doing this, or my old self would see me doing this without any of the context, I'd be like, ooh, what is this guy doing? But once you get over it, I don't know, not to say you'll be successful, but it does open up new doors and new opportunities. Fed says, Casey Neistat is a pro, but he's no Casey from Camera Conspiracies. Now that's a man who knows how to vlog. I've never heard of this. Link me. Who is this guy?
Affair. The idea becomes a machine that makes the art. Okay, so to think about this in these terms, I want to propose 3 different artists working with 3 different concepts and 3 different, totally different.
Okay. One problem with this image is I shot this at 4000 ISO. Do I have any cleaner image? This is ISO 800, but these are all shaky. Okay, I got an ISO 800, but the owl here looks much better because it was facing me a little bit better. But it is 4000 ISO. That's crazy. Let's maybe go through some denoising first.
Relationships to delegation. And I also just got to say, like, I don't know that Casey thinks of himself as an artist in this way, but that's how I'm framing it for the sake of this. And so I think about this spectrum of delegation. And basically what this is artists who delegate nothing going to artists who delegate everything. And their conceptual art is basically what determines whether or not they can delegate. Let's dive deeper into this.
Andy, do you feel that the public has insulted your...
Funny enough, this is kind of what I'm dealing with right now, right? Because I am working with an editor now, and part of that process has been learning how to delegate, how to let go of certain responsibilities. So trying not to micromanage. Not to say I'm doing a good job of that, but like doing my best to learn what it means to work as a team. Part of it comes down to trust. Part of it comes down to obviously, like, you know, everyone's got to prove their worth. But yeah, it's not like smooth sailings, but it's been really enjoyable. And like I do feel like working with a team or with an editor has definitely opened up new opportunities as well. So the cringe is when running around in public, talking to a mic or camera is beyond normalized in a studio environment. When also communicating with viewers in chat or in radio, they had callers. Yeah, that's true. Like when you're in like New York City, right, and you're talking out loud and, you know, being boisterous or whatever, it does come off very awkward and kind of like, yeah. But Casey's like also a celebrity, you know what I mean? At this point, he's already made it his brand. So it's like different when he does it. It's one thing when like a random nobody is talking into a camera on the streets in a city. But then when Casey does it, he's already established himself. He's made it through the cringe to get to the point where now everyone just obviously accepts it and thinks it's awesome or whatever. I don't know.
No.
Okay, so this is a little bit
or
open
no
for interpretation.
You get used to
Andy
doing
Warhol's
it. Yeah.
concept, in essence, was himself. That the artist was the art. Okay, a walking, talking, breathing piece of, you know, concept art. But the concept underneath it was, if I present myself publicly in this way and I develop this persona of the artist, then I'm creating this sort of artist brand, or what he called the business artist. And I'll read, and this is how he quoted it. Business art is the step that comes after art. I started as a commercial artist, and I want to finish as a business artist. Being good in business is the most fascinating kind of art. During the hippie era, people put down the idea of business. They'd say money is bad and working is bad, but making money is art, and working is art. And good business is the best art. Another way of thinking about this idea of like business art, or Andy Warhol being the business artist, was that he turned himself into a brand. Warhol called his studio the factory, and he actually was able to produce over 20,000 different prints coming out of that factory. And what he would do is he would hire assistants, right? And these didn't need to be artists. They could, you know, they could be artists in their own right, or oftentimes they were just like interesting.
Yo, we got someone subbing over at YouTube. Thank you very much, Cosmin. I appreciate that. Subbing over on the YouTube side. Thank you. Quick pause there. I like how this photo looks already. So again, this is just applying one of the presets I was using within Dehancer. So it's the Kodak Gold 200 with this Fujifilm look. I can adjust from here and see if we want to make any changes, but right now, as is, it's quite nice. Probably not the halation. It's a little much. Maybe we'll see how it looks with the Kodak effect. And then the Kodak Endura. Kodak Endura usually feels a bit more natural with the colors. And it's like slightly darker. But I think I like this Fujifilm style. Something about the greens kind of stands out to me. And then I might drop down the compression a bit, or I might take the tonal range up. It's already up, okay. What can I do? Let's drop the white point then. So we'll make the white a little bit softer so it's not so harsh in your face. And then, yeah, we'll increase the color density. just a bit. All right, looks good. I am happy with the results. Oh, maybe we'll see about vignette. Sometimes it can look good, especially because, like I said, I tend to like darker images. I need to save this as a preset because I prefer when it's a bit of the wider aspect ratio. So something like this. Before and after. Yeah, just a slight touch of dark around the subject. And we Gucci, we got it. All right, let's hit okay. YouTubers are usually niche celebs. For every Casey, I know there's thousands of others just as big YouTubers I've never heard about. Well, I kind of disagree with you there, only for someone like Casey. I think at this point, Casey has, he's escaped orbit. He's escaped the orbit of YouTube. You know what I mean? He's like a proper celebrity. Because, not that okay, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I wasn't like that embedded in the YouTube community and culture throughout. But my understanding is like Casey Neistat and Peter McKinnon, they were like they were like the OGs for YouTuber who owns cameras and knows how to use cameras, you know? I don't actually know anything about Casey's background or anything. I just know like he was one of those guys that was known for like photography related things and creating content. And then like Casey had the extra flair of just being like an everyday New Yorker style and like being able to create really nice human content style things, but also doing it with a flair of storytelling and, you know, pizzazz or whatever, with all his tech stuff. So I don't know, like I feel like his name has gotten so big, and because his like daily vlog style, is him going out into New York City, let's say, right? So he's become such a celebrity that at least people in New York City know of him as like a New Yorker, like, you know, he's that guy, you know, not to say he's like that crazy homeless guy, but it's kind of like saying that it's like everyone knows the crazy homeless guy on that street. It's like, oh, everyone knows Casey Neistat in New York City. And New York City is such a big city that at some point, if you are famous in New York City, you're basically famous everywhere. You might as well call it that. So, but yeah, obviously there's like thousands of other YouTubers that are much bigger than he is probably, but they just don't have that same, I agree with you there. But I just don't think Casey's one of those examples. I think Casey is like a proper celebrity.
People that he knew, but he could basically bring a poet off the street and turn them into somebody who could come into the factory and pull a silk screen and basically create a piece of art that's sold later on for $195 million. Like that actually happens. Just to dig into this a little bit deeper when it comes to the idea of the factory, this is directly from the Warhol website, warhol.org. And it's basically about his screen printing process. Basically what it's exhibiting here is this series of prints that he did called the Flower Series. And I'm just gonna read straight from the website because I think it's great. About the art. Andy Warhol turned to his most notable style, photographic silkscreen printing in 1962. This commercial process allowed him to easily reproduce the images that he appropriated from pop culture. Warhol's Flower Series is a portfolio of 10 screen prints and hundreds of paintings based off of photographs taken by Patricia Clawfield, which were featured in the June 1964 issue of Modern Photography magazine. So after selecting the image, Warhol sent these to a commercial silkscreen maker with a note as to the desired dimensions of the screen and the number of colors to be printed. After the image was exposed and the screen was prepared for printing, it was returned to the factory, Warhol's New York City studio. The photographic silkscreen printing process created a precise and defined image and allowed Warhol and his assistants to mass produce a large number of prints with relative ease. While Warhol didn't invent the photographic silkscreen process, he developed his own technique by combining hand-painted backgrounds with photographic silkscreen printed images to create unique works of art. Okay, and then I love this quote. The reason I'm painting this way is that I want to be a machine. And then another quote here. I tried doing them by hand, but I find it easier to use the screen. This way,
all right, photo
I don't
looks
have to
good.
work on my objects at all. What am
I like the final results. I'm a fan. And this was with a photo that had what? 4,000 ISO. No. Excuse me. Did I jump to the wrong photo? Oh, I jumped to the wrong photo. My bad. Okay, well, so we don't know yet. We don't know. At least with this photo, it's 800 ISO. But the quality actually turned out pretty good. I was supposed to be testing the other photo actually. So somehow I jumped to the wrong one. This is the one I want to test because it's 4000 ISO. Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's bump up the raw details, and then I'm going to hit denoise. We'll see how it improves. Fed says, I disagree. If I mention their names to anyone, they have never heard about them. Maybe in New York. New York famous does not translate to the world. I mean, obviously, I'm being a little bit tongue-in-cheek when I say, like, being New York famous. But in some ways, New York is kind of like, you know, if you are famous in New York, it is almost like the center of the world. Obviously, that's a little bit, I mean, that's very pretentious and, you know, all the other stuff. But in many ways, all the action happens in New York, okay? It's like New York City, LA. I mean, you're also talking some of the biggest economies of the world, right? In just like a single city. So to me, if you're someone who is famous across New York, that comes with it a bit of weight that transcends your typical YouTube famous. If you're YouTube famous plus New York famous, that basically almost qualifies you enough to just be like famous. But I know what you're saying though. Outside of people into photography, I know nobody's heard of Peter McKinnon. Yeah, but I mean, listen, man, the photography crowd is big. You know, there's a lot of people out there who have at some point wanted to or still want to try their hands in photography. And I feel like if you're anywhere on YouTube, you'll probably run into one of his videos somewhere. I don't know, but I get what you're saying. I'm in a bubble. So even in photography, older people have no clue who he is. A center of the U.S. maybe. Yeah. Okay, so we've applied the denoise. I see what happened. I wasn't planning to do it on this one, was I? What to do? Hold on, let me undo then. I meant to reset. Okay, let's do it again, but off of the original.
Assistants, or anyone else for that matter.
I'm not even sure if Neistat is properly New York famous. Man, you could be correct. I mean, you're probably correct. But the past few videos we were watching of Casey, like for example, for the like the New York celebrations after the basketball, like for the parade and stuff, or even for the final games. And again, obviously it's his video, so he's picking and choosing the right moments. But it is kind of crazy how every day he's like doing these vlogs going around the city, and the number of people that are shouting out, like, you know, just random strangers see him and be like, "Oh, Casey, what's going on?" It's crazy, okay? But the thing is, like, he's like probably going out every day, you know, on his little crazy electric skateboard thing. He's just like a known entity, you know what I mean?
Can reproduce the design as well as I could. And so of these 20,000 pieces of Andy Warhol art, many of them he didn't produce himself at all. He didn't touch them. These were mass produced at scale, essentially. But because they were his brand, they were still authentically his art. So what this means for delegation. As the business artist, Andy Warhol...
Ooh, one note I'm trying to figure out for myself here. Fed says, I think he's famous in certain areas of the city, especially places he frequents a lot. True. Fair. Yes, fair points. And like, again, all of what I'm saying is like grain of salt, because it's like, I don't live in New York City. I've only visited a few times. It's not like I've seen him there or anything like that. I just get that impression. He does a good job of selling a persona. One thing I think I was trying to figure out for myself, when I'm doing my talking head videos, because I just recorded myself, for example, and I never know what to do with my hands. So for example, here, this dude is just talking with his hands right up, you know, up to the camera lens.
Produced at scale, essentially. But because they were his brand, they were still authentically his art.
And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, I'm always trying to figure out what is the best thing to do. Do I just keep it still? Because in my behind the lens episodes that I've put out, usually my hand goes wild. I'm holding a microphone with one hand and the other one is just kind of orchestral. It's like composing some music or something like that. So, which can be annoying to certain people, I'm sure, but I just don't know what the right style is. So for him, he's kind of centered himself and then he just lets his hands go crazy, which is okay. I'll take note of that.
Even in my small city, there are some local celebs like that, and when they are out and about, they seem very famous here too. People see them, etc., but most people here have no clue who they are. Yeah, or it's like a good example of that is PewDiePie, right? Because is he still, or he was, the largest YouTuber or something like that? I don't know. But I'm sure, like, if you ask a random Joe Schmo on the streets, like, hey, do you know who PewDiePie is? They'll probably be like, no idea what you're trying to sell me, bro. PewDiePie, how many followers does he have? 110 million. So yeah, I guess this would be a good example of what you're saying, Fed. He's clearly YouTube famous, 110 million followers. But then in the real world, most people would never have even heard of him. So if a guy with 110 million, we can say that, your logic would apply to Casey Neistat as well. So I do kind of agree with you, yeah. Yo, what's happening? We got Cyrones in the chat. Says, make sure you get the upgraded grip if you're going with the Luna in the future. What is the Luna? Hold on, let's play
What this means for delegation. As a business artist, Andy Warhol delegated everything intentionally. The detachment from the work was the point. And so all these assistants at the factory, they weren't hidden labor. They were part of the concept.
Okay. What's going on, Cyronius? So Cyronius, you sent me a link here. The most pistol grip ever. What are we looking at? What is going on? This looks so badass. Oh my God, is that for the Osmo Pocket? Yo. Can you imagine traveling with this? I'd be foolish. Can you imagine walking around anywhere in the US with this? And you're not white. If you're not white and you're carrying this around, good luck. What am I seeing here? Fed says, yeah, he was the largest, but he's retired now, and very few people over 20 know who he is. Yeah, exactly. Young people watched him on YouTube growing up or knew about him, so they know. It's the Insta360 Luna. Oh, okay. I thought it was the Osmo Pocket. Man, they look so similar. Okay, what am I seeing here? I need to give my undivided attention. The most pistol grip ever. Is this Luna camera accessory cool, or will it get you arrested? I mean, I'm inclined to believe the latter, but it is cool, so it's both. Byron7, a tech maker, designer, self-proclaimed everyday carry gear enthusiast, has created this pistol grip accessory for the new Insta360 Luna series. Yeah. Can you imagine pointing this at anybody? I mean, it's obviously a gimmick, or I'm assuming it does work actually, but I don't think I would ever use this. But actually on that note, can you imagine going on a wildlife safari and instead of shooting like we normally assume, it actually would be cool. Instead of shooting like this, if you were shooting like it's like like a freaking machine gun, and you had like the monitor there, and you're like just you're recording while actually, yeah, I mean, I can see the fun in that for sure. But yeah, I think I do need to look into some of the rigs for this. By the way, Cyronius, I sent you a DM about, and Maple was in here earlier. He's seen the same video. I sent it over to you, but yeah, there's like a dude who's got a backpack rig with an OC 4-channel switcher. So he's got like 4 HDMI inputs, and I think he was switching between like an Osmo Pocket 3, an Action 4, and like some camcorder that looks similar to what you use, like that kind of, I think it was like a shoulder strap style Sony camcorder. And then you're able to switch between them. I was like, oh, that's pretty damn interesting. So in case it was of interest to you, or I don't know if you've seen it already. But stuff for also food for thought for me when I'm trying to figure out what to do, especially with the multi-switcher type. Fed says PewDiePie is Swedish and he might, hold on one second. Where did the video go? Oh, there you are. Let's keep watching. He might be more well-known outside of Sweden, which is interesting. Yeah, he lives in Japan now, right? Man, the dude has figured out his life. Good for him. Cyrony says, yeah, Mit 4D. I was watching a stream when he was doing the recording. Nice. I was showing him stuff about StreamerBot. Oh, nice, nice. Small world. Yeah, it just like popped up on my YouTube channel randomly. I was like, oh, okay.
This is Tom Sachs. Casey actually worked in Tom's studio along with his brother Van. Van actually did a lot of work at the studio, and you can actually see Tom's influence on both Van and Casey. Okay, here's how Tom Sachs defines conceptual art, because I think it's helpful.
Conceptual art, where artists had made everything they could think of, and they didn't know what to do anymore, so they started to make art with rules. It wasn't so much about the materials, but about the rules so that they could make art within those rules. Sport is an exercise with rules. Art is an exercise in rules. In a performance piece or a piece of conceptual art, it's about the experience. And the value in this is discipline, is in long-term consistency, showing how you can really build something.
So Tom's big concept was the studio. He even says in his book, he said, "The studio is the greatest work of art I've ever made. And the studio operates under strict, explicit rules, or what they call the code."
The studio is a complex and enigmatic working environment full of precise rules and principles. We call these rules and principles the code.
The code. Matt4D. I need to give this guy a follow then. Yeah, because I still need to figure out. Oh, yeah, anyways, I need to catch up with you, Cyrenius. But yeah, hopefully everything's going well with the Bella Box thing for myself. I don't know when. I still need to figure out when I'll be going out for the wildlife stream. So, but yeah, keep me posted. Matt4D. I think they're still in Japan. Yeah, I mean, if I could live anywhere, why the hell not? Would I not want to live in Japan? Japan would be amazing. Every day, I would just go outside and I feel like I'd be able to film something cool. It'd be like New York City. But I would want to live like in Kyoto, or I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It'd be nice to live somewhere in Japan, because then you can do your crazy Tokyo style trips, and then you can go on to like freaking nature, wildlife, everything.
Like, the studio itself is a work of conceptual art, totally outside of all the actual objects that it produces. So Sachs codified his studio's philosophy into a film called 10 Bullets. The very first bullet is work to code.
Working to code means adhering to the system of production already in place. Arbitrary decision-making and personal inventiveness are discouraged.
The principle that everyone in the studio must follow the rules Sachs has laid out. Not interpret them, not improve them, just follow them.
Follow this guide carefully, and you probably won't be fired.
He even says, creativity is the enemy. This sounds counterintuitive for an art studio, but that's the point. The system is the art. Individual creative expression from assistants would actually corrupt the work. So what does this mean for delegation? Sachs can delegate extensively because he's delegating to a system, not to individual judgment. The rules are the artist. If you follow them, the work is authentically Tom Sachs. If you deviate, it isn't, no matter how good your idea was. So when somebody works in the studio, they're not just helping Tom make stuff, they're actively participating and performing.
I think they live in
the artwork
Setagaya
by following
in
the code.
Tokyo.
So there's no tension between, oh, Sachs made this and his assistants made this. The whole point is that the studio...
Siren says, yes, just doing the 3D printed stuff right now. Interesting. Got some Wago clips for the easy rewiring if you need it. Interesting. Man, I'm so excited for whenever this happens. It's taking a bit longer because people are on vacation and stuff, but fingers crossed I'll be going out to do that live stream. And if we make it work, because we were watching someone, shout out to Kavitz, who he had sent a link to a Twitch streamer named Study Time without one of the letters in there. And I watched a bit of her stream where she was doing a Jeep safari in Kenya, which is where I'm going to start as well. And she was doing it very low key. Like, it didn't look, actually, yes, Irony, since you're here, I'm curious your thoughts on, I don't even know if she was using a Bella, I don't know what she was using actually. What do you think? Hold on. Let's see if we can find it. Because it looked bare bones. Whatever she was using. Was her name Study Time? Twitch Study Time? Study Time. Okay, I found it. Study TME. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see if we can find the wildlife one. Where was it? There we go.
And like she had a couple times where the connection dropped and it just like automatically went to like a BRB or some like, you know, placeholder. And she did say at some point, she was like, oh, the Wi-Fi is good here. So I didn't know if she's just saying the term colloquially or like, I don't know if she's using a cell service and then it just happened to work nicely. But I was kind of impressed because the quality didn't seem to drop really. And she was using, I think, like an iPhone. What the hell's going on here? Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, so she was using an iPhone, I think, on a gimbal, or maybe one of those pockets or whatever, because she had a mode on where she's able to show both cameras, like the front and the back camera view from the same thing. So I was assuming it was like an iPhone that she's using this for. But yeah, I was like, damn, that's good.
Every time a new car arrives, I have to lower the internet.
Oh, oh my God, what did she just say? She just said something important about the internet.
There's another video. Are we?
Oh, yes, yeah, so that's where she lost connection. And then she was just saying something, I didn't catch it.
Maybe now we'll start charging, I don't know. Let's see.
Stream lost signal. Signal restored.
If you don't want me to do a tattoo, you have to donate.
Fed says, I remember that live streaming from the Jeep. That's what I remember, the signal breaking when we watched it. Yeah, I was jumping around just to see like different moments that it breaks, just so hopefully she says something out loud about like what broke or what she's doing, her setup. People have been streaming live for a decade, at least now with their phones on YouTube, but usually it's in the cities. Yeah, I mean, obviously like IRL streaming is fine. It was more how to stream in these locations where you presumably don't have good connection at all, or there's like no cell tower. But it looks like parts of even Masai Mara, they might be setting up more cell towers somehow. So even with just an iPhone or whatever she's using here, she's able to have a pretty solid signal, which is good news. It's like promising. So that means hopefully when I do my pilot, the Starlink will be overkill, which is good. So hopefully the Starlink will make sure we always have the best quality, and then we downgrade from there if needed. But yeah. And the quality used to be potato, like 360p, yeah.
Shut up, donkey. Every time a new car arrives, I have to lower the internet.
Ah, okay. So she said every time a new car arrives, I think she said I have to lower the internet. So every time a car arrives, maybe she's saying her internet connection goes down just because, you know, everyone's taking up the bandwidth.
Yeah. It's okay, James. We can go if you want to. Yes. This is the safest. Oh, there's so many people already. Tattoos from Neville already have 4. I already have 4, so I'm the doomed bomba. Wow, your brain. Tattoo from Neville. You know who's from the devil? Judgmental people. I really wish. It'd be a dream of mine to bring National Geographic to Twitch.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I remember from the beginning of the stream, you can see her just walking up to the Jeep. So it's not like she had to hook anything in or there was no riggings. It's just like the Jeep arrived and she just hopped in and then continued the stream. So I don't think it was anything crazy.
But unfortunately, I just don't know the answers yet. But yeah. Anyways, where were we?
The system, the culture, the transmission of method is the thing that Sachs authored in the first place. And the work and the objects that come out of it are almost like artifacts or byproducts of this initial conceptual piece of art that he created, which is the studio. So Casey's big concept was his daily vlog series, and that led into the 368 vlog series. And the rules around that, the sort of concept around it was post every single day without fail.
800. That's how many days in a row I uploaded a video from my daily vlog.
And the value in this is discipline, is in long-term consistency, showing how you can really build something.
The vlog isn't the actual product. The process of making it is the product. That's what the art is. The process is where the art happens. Unlike Warhol or Sachs, Casey's concept is process dependent. The execution isn't perfunctory, it's the entire point. So what does this mean for delegation? Casey could have Dan Mace edit. He even says it himself.
Dan Mace is a better filmmaker than me in every capacity. He's a better storyteller, he's a better narrative filmmaker, he's a better technical filmmaker, he's an incredible filmmaker.
But it's not an operational decision, it's a creative one. Because if Casey didn't make them, they wouldn't be a Casey Neistat vlog anymore. They would be something else.
Will 368 be entirely edited by Casey, or will other creators upload their content? The mission is about a space and is about collaboration, but 368, this series, this is my series. So, you know, I love collaborating with people like Dan, and in the future, there'll be other collaborations, but 368, the series will always be my series.
So the constraint here isn't operational, it's definitional. The reason Casey is not delegating isn't because of a practical limitation. Like, it's not like him saying, you know, I can't delegate this because I don't have budget, or I can't find somebody skilled enough. A definitional constraint is different. It's saying, if I delegate this, it stops being the thing it claims to be. The work's identity depends on him doing the work in that process. Delegating would change what the work fundamentally is. Delegation is a creative choice, not an operational one. Warhol's concept requires delegation. The detachment is the statement. Sachs' concept enables delegation through systematic code following. And Casey's concept resists delegation because process is the point. So what are my takeaways here? If your work is process dependent like Casey, delegation might genuinely compromise it. And that's a valid creative choice, not a failure of leadership. If your concept is the system itself, like Sachs, then hoarding the work defeats the purpose. The whole point of building a system is that it runs without you. You know, lastly, if you're building a brand like Warhol, your taste and claim become the art. You can delegate execution entirely, as long as you're able to retain the ability and authority to curate what is labeled as yours, what is your brand. Okay, so why did Casey Neistat fire Dan Mace? So there's no correct level of delegation. It's not universal. It's not about whether, you know, it's efficient or scalable. It's just simply about what your concept demands. Casey didn't fire Dan because delegation is inherently bad. He fired him because, for him, delegation is category error. The vlog wasn't simply concept to be optimized. It was a daily practice that required him to make it.
Like, I couldn't have had a better partner, and I still failed miserably. I don't like it. I love being alone, like just myself sitting there staring and figuring it out.
Okay, that's all I got on this. I know it's kind of, I probably read into it way too much, but just.
Okay, I'm not really sure what I learned from this, but we learned something, I'm sure. We got a Fed video. I don't know, Fed, are you still here? Let's watch this. The Molino Park. Parque del Molino de Agua. Let's bring this over. Well, it's going to be very tiny on the screen, but, you know. like the music choice already. K7 PV Production. I like how that rolls off the tongue. K7 PV Production. That sounds like a radio channel or something, radio station. K7 PV Production says, first time chatter, got recommended to you by BC. Oh, nice. From Brandon himself. Well, thank you very much to Brandon, and thank you to you for hopping in here and saying hi. Hopefully you enjoy. I don't know how long you've been tuning in, but today I'm doing a bit of photo editing from Sri Lanka. So it's been a while, but I'm trying to go through all my photos and videos from a recent... Did I say a recent? What am I smoking? From a trip back in 2024, where I went to Sri Lanka for about 3 to 4 days. I was running a tour. I was the tour leader, essentially, and the photography lead for a bunch of Nikon photographers. And so I was taking them through parts of Sri Lanka for wildlife photography, as well as a bit of cultural photography stuff. So this is way back from March of 2024. I've got like a backlog of 2 years worth of trips, which is over, at this point, it's like over 150 terabytes of video files. So I do my live streams to try to slowly crack through it all. So when you tune into my streams, it'll be a mixture of me editing my videos as well as editing my photos from my travels. So today we're going through Sri Lanka. I was doing more photo than video. So right now, for example, you're just watching me edit some of my top photos that I had kind of highlighted for, more edits. And I'm using Dehancer here, which I've discovered recently. They teamed up with me recently. They gave me access to Dehancer so I could test it out for video color grading, but I've been really enjoying it for the photo side. So that's what's happening. And also usually right now, for example, I have 2 cats that sometimes join me on stream, but right now, both of my cats are AWOL. I don't know where they went, but if they decide to grace us with their presence, you'll see them hop over into one of these beds. So if they swing by, wait, I feel like I see. No, they're not there. But yeah, that's what we got going for us. Fed says this was also graded using that new free film emulation Spectra film. Oh, nice. It's in a very small window. Can you see it well on your end? So we're watching. I usually K7 PV Production. I usually like to watch a YouTube video or something while I'm editing because I'm a little bit ADHD brained in that sense. I like to multitask as much as possible. So right now we're watching. I try to watch as many videos that are related to my line of work, which is around photography and videography, filmmaking, cinematography, stuff like that. And so this one is from our boy Fedorevsky over on the YouTube side. He shot this was this in Spain, I'm assuming? So yeah, watching a bit of this. K7 PV Production asked, what's your setup for this trip if you remember? That's me to a T. Do I remember? Of course I don't remember, but I'll do my best. So it's actually not that hard for me to remember because guess what? I am very organized. So for example, here, when you're seeing my video files, I create folders for every camera that I shoot for every day. So I was shooting with the Nikon Z9, the Nikon Z8, and my iPhone. I think throughout the whole trip, that was all I used. Yep.
Nikon Z9, Z8, and the iPhone. What I use currently is a different story. I am now a Nikon ZR shooter because I've started to shift from photography over to cinematography. So Nikon gave me their latest cinema camera, the Nikon ZR, with the request that I make content out of it. So obviously I did. You should check it out. It's on my YouTube channel. It's called The Island of Second Chances. Let me plug my YouTube real quick. And also I'll plug my Discord. Feel free to join either of them. Boom, boom, boom. Now, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so now when I travel, I like to shoot with my Nikon ZR. I usually try to travel with two cameras. So in the past, I had my Nikon Z9 as my primary workhorse, and then I had the Nikon Z6 III as my backup. And that worked out quite nicely because both of them shoot in the same RAW codec, basically, so I can have the same colors and the quality across both cameras. But now that I have the ZR, for example, I was traveling for 2 months back in March and April. I went to Munich, Uganda, and Tanzania. And so during my time there, I actually borrowed a second Nikon ZR from, because I work with Nikon in the region. I live in Dubai. So I borrowed a second Nikon ZR and I shot with both, basically. But this camera that I'm using right now for the stream is the Nikon Z6 III. This one is the Nikon Z9. I'll say hello. And then this one is the ZR. What do you think is the sweet spot for lenses when shooting wildlife? I shoot sports, so we're kind of distant cousins in the field. Yes, it's a good question. Let me put on some music while we do this. What do I think is the sweet spot for lenses when shooting wildlife? Oh, actually, the answer is so simple because I'm so excited at some point to test this out. Hopefully, I can convince Nikon to give it to me, but I doubt it because it's going to be expensive. The 120 to 300 f2.8 lens that Nikon announced recently with the built-in teleconverter, I think that is the sweet spot for action stuff. I have the 400 millimeter lens. It's up on the top shelf there. And that's what allows me to get some of my best captures ever with wildlife related. But it's, it's expensive. It's big. It weighs a lot. So it requires, it can be exhausting trying to track, it's just a lot to deal with, especially for the way that I travel and the way I shoot. Let me see if I can actually show you guys. Hold on. Because I know I have some moments from my recent trips that I can show. Current travels from the chimp treks. Here we go. So, for example, here, I should have, is it with the, how would I have it? Did I capture with the nano maybe? Let's see. Oh, this was a cool moment though. Hold on. Milton knew that the baboon was gonna hop up onto the, there he is.
Oh. Hey dude. There's more food here.
So this was the 70 to 200 f2.8.
I need my 35 lens for this.
So the 7200 f2.8 tends to be the main, for the longest time, that was my favorite lens for my travel related stuff because it's so versatile. 2.8 is amazing. That range, that focal length up to 200 is really excellent, especially if you've got a powerful camera body so you can punch in if you need to, so you can crop in. The 400's excellent, but it's a bit heavier. Yeah, here's me with the 400, right? It's such, I'm sure if I recorded enough of this, you'll see moments when I'm trying to capture something and I'm doing my best to hold it up in the air, and I can only do it for a few seconds before my body gives out on me. And you're holding your breath so you don't make any motion. Let's see.
Oh, hey Fiona, you can see here? No, look at the camera, look at the monitor.
What was I looking at? Tarako bird? Any second now, I'm assuming you'll see me drop the camera, just like, oh, because it's so goddamn heavy.
That's right. There you go.
And what you can't see in the shot here is the longer I hold it up, there it is. There's that sigh. You'll see like my camera angle starts shifting upwards. It's because like I'm using my whole body and I'm like basically leaning backwards and backwards to just keep the camera in the same spot. It's a nightmare. So the 400 is great, but I think the new one, the 120 to 300, because I think 300 as a focal length is probably the sweet spot to answer your question 5 minutes later. 300 is great. So I'm very excited to try out the new 120 to 300 because it's got a built-in teleconverter 1.4x. So then I can get the punch in when needed. But I've got that nice range of 120 to 300. I'm assuming it's going to be much lighter. So hopefully it'll be easier to actually wield as well. What do you think is the... I shoot Sony since it's great at being versatile in photo and video, plus in low light situations. I'm contemplating between a 1.4x for my 7200 or just getting a 200 to 600. That's a good question. Is the 200 to 600... I'm assuming it's not 2.8, or if it is a 2.8, I would go with that. I doubt it. No, there can't be. I'm assuming it's like an f4, or maybe it's like a range. If there was a 200 to 600 f2.8, my God. Yeah, so what am I talking about? What am I smoking? That's impossible. It's a 5.6 to 6.3. Okay, gotcha. Do you shoot mostly video or photo? If you do video, I feel like you should go with the 200 to 600. Because I feel like for video, it's a bit more forgiving if you've got a little bit of noise and stuff in your shots. Those experiences must be super insane. I hope to second a wildlife photographer for fun one day. Hey, well, listen, you can join me on my trips. I do organize tours and stuff. I had to put a pause on that recently, but I've got another private tour in October. I'm taking a couple to Uganda for 2 weeks, and I'm supposed to plan for the next Triple C. I'm just bringing the, Fed says I'm bringing the 18 to 140 millimeter APS-C to Spain to travel light. So it's a 27 to 210 equivalent. It's often great for most things. I might miss the 50 to 250, which is 75 to 375, but oh well. Yeah, I mean, that's a good range. And I guess, yeah, with the Sony, I know they do really well in low light. The Nikon does well too, especially with the ZR. But I think the Sony, for example, the FX3, what is the base ISO for that? It's like, I think it's double whatever Nikon has. Because Nikon is 800 and 6400. So Sony might, I don't know what it is. K7 PV Production says, yeah, with lenses that big, if I can't use my body for stability, it gets heavy quick. A healthy amount of both, honestly. 800. Yeah, okay, it's 800. Okay. I don't know. If you're doing a mix, I mean, the 7200, you can really never go wrong with the 7200 f2.8, right? Because like you said, you can pop on that 1.4x and you'll get a decent quality. The issue I usually have with the 1.4x is like you do see a little bit of a degradation in the quality, I've found, even with the built-in teleconverter. But if you're doing video, I feel like that degradation is not the worst. And it also depends. You said you're doing sports, so I think that might be better. Maybe. I just know sometimes with like wildlife photography, a 7200 is not, it's not zoomed in enough. And so then to have to like put a converter and potentially crop into your image, you're already distorting it quite a bit. Yeah, it takes a lot out. So I feel like having a 200-600 for wildlife is definitely the best. And also the quality of your image is just going to look better with minimal work. Just because of that compression you get if you're shooting at 600, like the portraiture you'll get out of a 600, even at whatever f5.6, whatever it might be, 6.3, you'll just end up with a clean shot with like a nice background, you know, like that nice blurriness and everything. Sony has 12,800 ISO. Yeah, I thought I had a, let me see if I can find. But one thing you can't do with the bigger lens is, you know, obviously here I can just stick this out the window and not worry about it being too shaky. Even though it looks shaky, the footage is usable. All right, I'm looking for the chimp trek. All right, I know I have. Okay, did I do it with the iPhone maybe? I might have done it with the iPhone. basically I have this rig that I created where I'm wearing it's a cotton carrier vest where I could attach 2 cameras. And at some points I was actually for this first chimp trek, I actually had the 400 2.8 on my chest. So it was on the front of my camera vest. And then I had the second camera here on the side holster, so I could take it out, film whenever, and then put it back on. K7 PV Production says, I like just saying it out loud. Kind of what I was thinking. For pro sports, getting good quality close-ups would be preferable. Yeah, you just stand out more with a 600 kind of a lens. If you shoot with the 7200, you'll probably get some good shots, but it's like, I don't know. When you shoot with something like a 600, it's harder for people. There are fewer photographers that have a 600 equivalent compared to people who have 70 to 200. So if also you're trying to do your best to stand out as a photographer, I feel like by having the ability to shoot at up to 600, and imagine even putting a 1.4x on the 200 to 600, right? Because depending on what you're shooting, maybe you're shooting in like broad, like in full daylight. So you don't mind shooting at like f8, f11, whatever. And also when you're shooting at f8, f11 or f6.3, it's okay because you're shooting at 600. So then you're going to still get a nice separation of your subject from the background just because of that nice, whatever, I don't know the physics, right? But just to get that nice compression from that length. So yeah, man, I think if you have to choose between a 70 to 200 with a 1.4x or a 200 to 600 at 5.6, 6.3, go for the 200 to 600. However, indoor would be near impossible for photos. Yeah, it'd be too dark, but you're shooting 10-bit though with those Sonys with baked-in sharpness and noise reduction, no internal RAW. Yeah, listen, we stan Nikon here, okay, in this community. Sony's good too. The 6-foot plus King equivalent, yeah. But yeah, so this was, I mean, it was so much fun. Like, this is what I do, right? This is what I love doing. And the cotton carrier vest system that I created was a beauty. It worked out really nicely. But a part of me did wish, if only I had a lighter system. If only instead of walking around the jungle in this forest with the 400 freaking lens on, which is heavy, even when it's like nicely balanced on the front of my vest, it would have been nice to have something lighter. That's all I'm saying. A 120-300 would have been perfect. The 7200 Mark II from Nikon would have been amazing, but I wasn't able to get access to it. They did say if I have some upcoming trips that I can borrow it if it's available. So we'll see. I might have some projects coming up. K7 PV Production asked, how's that Insta360 for the behind the scenes? I suck at doing BTS content. It's not the Insta360. I do have the older Insta Go 3 that I use as a hat camera. And I have like the Insta X4 360 cameras and stuff like that. However, I've actually shifted everything to DJI. So right now what you're seeing is me filming with the hat camera, which is the Osmo Nano. This guy. So I've got the Osmo Nano, and then I have the Osmo 360, and then I have the Action 6, which is somewhere else. But between those 3 cameras, it allowed me to get like never miss a moment essentially. And so yeah, it was really good. If you have to choose one camera to take with you as like an action behind the scenes, I think these hat cameras are the best, whether it's Insta360 or DJI. The reason I went with DJI is for the color grading purposes, they shoot in a slightly better quality. So I think at the time, I'm sure the new models of Insta, they might allow for it. But at the time, the Insta360 models, they didn't allow you to shoot in like 10-bit log, like kind of like a raw format. So it's kind of baked in, right? Whereas with the DJI, the Osmo Nano, it shoots in like a 10-bit mini log, essentially, like a version of log. So you have a slightly more ability to color grade. So, hopefully the quality looks better. So that's what I was able to do on this footage, for example. This is a 1080 version, so it's not the best quality, but just to give you a sense. So yeah, I had this on my hat, And then off to the side of my main camera, I had the 360 camera, so it would get the front shots of me as well as anything around me. And then on my shoulder, which you can't see, I had the Action 6 attached to like a shoulder harness. K7 PV Production says, a DJI user, I'm in a safe space. Yeah, listen, I'm trying to get sponsored by them. I already work with Nikon, but you know, they're different enough in terms of their products that it shouldn't be a conflict.
Thank you.
So even these kind of stuff, like technically I've been thinking about, do I just turn this into a single YouTube video? You know, just like a standalone, because even this hack camera, it was running for about 20 minutes straight. So it could just be like, hey, look, this is like the unfiltered start to finish. Here's what a chimp trek looks like, right? So that is a thought that I can turn this eventually into just like a full-on video for anyone who wants to see the like the full experience, like the raw, you know. Here's what it looks like when you see the chimp. This is me shooting with that 400 lens. Oh my God. You see what I'm doing here? Listen, it ain't easy, all right? It ain't easy doing this shit. Man, that 400 lens is so heavy. Let's see. My brand sponsor goal as well says K7 PV Production. Fed says, don't tempt people. You can't get DJI in the US anymore. Oh my God, you're right. I keep forgetting about that. I didn't know that was still a thing. So instas are a better bet for people stateside. That's actually kind of crazy. Obviously, that's not good for DJI, because then they're basically just getting their competition is just gonna win out. I still can get them actually. I buy through Amazon. Yeah, I'm sure there's always workarounds. So yeah, here's the 400. So you gotta lift this bad boy up, point it at your subject. It's such a good workout. I do miss traveling because I lose weight, I gain muscle mass every time I travel. And then when I don't travel, unfortunately, I become a fat ass. So you can see a little bit of micro shaking from me because my body's giving out on me. It's a good system. I like the cotton carrier. Oh yeah, she's wearing one as well. She has the cotton carrier.
Can I go this one? Thank you. Oh. Thank you.
Good times. Who needs the gym when you shoot with the 400? Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah, the ban is just on DJI selling in the US. You can still get them from abroad. Gotcha. So anyways, hopefully, yeah. So anyways, I got a lot of these kind of footage that I need to go through. Here's the Action 6. Oh, I still need to send over the Osmo 360. So yeah, this is from the Action 6 that was attached to my shoulder strap, so a slightly different angle. So I had this running the whole time. So this camera, the Osmo 360, were running the entirety of it, and then the hack camera, because the battery life wasn't as long, I would just turn it on when I thought there were moments. And then you carry around a shit ton of batteries as well.
Yeah.
Man, I love doing this kind of stuff. Anywho, good trip. So I'm going to be looking through all this, and eventually this will become some vlog episodes on my YouTube channel. So hopefully you guys will check it out when we get there. The Action Pro has the 5-second feature, correct? Action Pro. I don't know what the Action Pro is. I have the Action 6, the Osmo 360, and the Osmo Nano, where I can save like 5 seconds before you hit record. Oh yeah, I think it does. I didn't use any of those settings though, because the problem, I say the problem, but the functionality I needed was ideally capturing the entire trek. So it's unpredictable how long these treks can be. You could end up spending like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours in the jungle searching for the chimps, and then you spend an hour with them and then hiking back. So I wanted to be able to shoot with a camera that had the longest battery life. So the Osmo 360 and the Action 6, I would just shoot in the lowest resolution that, I say lowest, I was shooting at like 4K, roughly around 4K, at 25 frames per second. So bare minimum-ish to be able to get long-running footage. If I were to turn on that 5-second feature, I mean, it would only be useful. Well, actually, yeah, it's not useful for what I was doing anyways, because it was just recording the whole time, so it didn't matter. It would be nice if the Osmo Nano had that feature, though. If the Osmo Nano had a 5-second pre-release style recording, that would have been great. Because then I could have just kept the camera off, technically, and then the moment happens, hit the button to, have it save the recording. But the problem is those things all drain the battery, so yeah. All right, where were we? Picture in picture. What were you watching? Oh yeah. All right, so we got Fed's video here. And then let's go to, I was editing a photo. That's where we were. All right, unfortunately Fed's video is very tiny on the screen as I'm editing, but. I think I like this one. Konica Middle to okay, I think I like how this looks. So while I'm waiting for that photo to load back into Lightroom, let's check out Fed's video a bit more full screen. So these are all shot with the Nikon ZR, and then you mentioned it was like Spectra film or something for the color grading. Let's let me see. Oh man, is my internet slow now? What's going on? I like the colors. That beautiful 12-bit high dynamic range. Cat footage, hells yeah. Speaking my language. But yeah, Fed, I'm just gonna skim through some parts of this. Why does it take so long to load though? Hells yeah, more cats. And I think I remember you said you were filming with like a single lens the whole trip or something. beautiful eyes. Oh man, I want to adopt that cat right there. So many cats. Hells yeah. It's like a video of just cats. This is my kind of stuff that I want to film. Best part of traveling in Europe and like Middle East, I feel, is no matter where you go, there's like cats everywhere. Street cats. Istanbul's the best for that, in my opinion. Okay. All right, so here's we got the photo. Do I want to edit this further? I'm not sure. It's kind of... I feel like it's in a good spot. It might just be just some lighting. So I might shape the light a bit. Which way? It's a little bit top heavy, right? Slightly, I could argue, coming from the left, maybe? I'll just do a slight bit on the left. We'll just make it a bit warmer on that side. This video was filmed on the 50 to 250. I filmed the cat shelter community in this park. They have these shelters all over the place. Oh, that's kind of cool. Damn. Fed, you gotta do some wildlife safaris. Okay, we got all the footage, or the photos. Let's try again. Okay, I'm remembering now. So this is how far we got, I think, when we were reviewing these photos on an earlier stream, which is what, day 3 of Sri Lanka? Man, I barely saved any photos. Did I miss a few? Okay, I missed a bunch, that's why. But even then, there's barely any photos here to review. I mean, it wasn't like the best sightings of, you know, as far as like sightings go for wildlife. So really, I only had a couple moments. Maybe I'll save one of the butterflies. Maybe this can turn out nice composition-wise. Yeah, so there's a few others maybe I should kind of take a second glance at. Let me 3-star them just for now. But let's just move on to the next day. All right. Shout out to Fedorevsky. Always appreciate. On YouTube, Mr. Fedorevsky himself. In praise of brilliant... Oh yeah, we were watching this the other day.
Adobe products...
Adobe is completely effed. Okay. Controversial. Oh yeah, I got an email that I think Adobe is buying out Topaz, because I use Topaz. But actually that's good news for me, because I think since I currently pay for Adobe, I'm hoping that means that Topaz should be covered under that license, because I haven't paid for Topaz recently. I haven't like renewed my license because it's pretty damn expensive. Award-winning documentary short. The key to good color grading. All right. Maybe we should watch this one. Stop adding colors, do this instead. This is 12 days ago, 35,000 views. This is 3 days ago and 9,000. Let's watch this one.
Especially after my last few reels, I've gotten quite a few comments about color grading and how I do it and everything. But it's a harder question to answer than it may seem. But we're gonna take it step by step, and we're gonna focus on one specific thing at a time. And today we're gonna talk about curves. I've talked about this topic before, but I'm gonna expand upon it, make a little update about it, and it honestly has been like 3 or 4 years since I've made that video, so a lot has changed and there's a lot more examples I can talk about now. So I've got 4 clips today.
That is a style I've noticed from a number of videos now, and I'm not opposed to it. I just need to take a note of it, where instead of filming straight on, they're filming from the side, right? So you set up your side, and then you can see like the different monitors. So how would that work for me? I guess for me that would mean instead of doing, let's say, instead of doing some YouTube videos where you see me talking like this, the camera would be more. I would have to set the camera over here, and I'm talking this way. And then you guys would see my 2 monitors here. It's not easy to describe this. But the problem is it a problem? I guess he's got slightly 2 monitors. It doesn't look the best. It doesn't look that clean. But I guess that's part of the point, is like you get behind the scenes. If I did a camera angle to my side here, it would get like a direct flat perspective of one of my monitors, like head on, which is not actually good, because then there would be reflection if it was pitch black. So I would have to put something on the screen so that the camera doesn't see itself, right? I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I do find this interesting because it feels like it is a trend now. I've seen a number of videos where the YouTuber is literally talking from the side. Actually, one of the best examples I feel is the colorist. Hold on, we'll get back to you. I feel like, what's his name? Fed, you would know the name. K7 PV Production says, I like it because it's cool to see people setups. Yeah, I agree with you. I did something like that on my channel for when I was making a video about Dehancer, where you can see the behind the scenes. But it was only for a brief second. I would love to do more continually from that angle. Who's the guy? Who's the colorist that we watch? Oh, Jesus. I'm sure if I type colorist. What's the guy's name? Oh, here he is. Cullen Kelly. I feel like Cullen Kelly did that. I could be wrong. I thought I saw a recent video of his where he did that side angle. Let me see. Latest video. Okay, maybe it's in this one.
Up until a few years ago.
Yeah, there you go. Well, okay, it's kind of, well, his body is facing directly to the camera, which is, in hindsight, or I guess looking at this now, it does look a little bit awkward, if I'm being honest. Does it keep doing that? Let me see. But I'm assuming once he goes to like edit mode, let's see.
Able to video will be waiting for you when you return, but go check out.
But his lighting is so good, obviously. His colors are good, but. Yeah, but I agree with you, K7 PV Production. It is kind of nice to be, it feels a bit more intimate, and you are getting a little bit of a reveal of what it's like behind the scenes. So it's a thought that I would like to maybe incorporate for some of my future videos. But the only thing is, oh no, there's no problems. There's no problems at all. Let's think about it. Let me see if I can also find an example. It was under, was it last year or this year? I think it was this year. Oh my God, was it last year? 4D Hanser, no. YouTube projects. Oh, that was last year. Damn. I've been chasing a look that... Okay, so I did something like this one time, and I did like it, but it was a lot of effort to have to set up the cameras and stuff. I mean, everything's effort. So I could maybe... So imagine this is like behind the scenes, right? So when you see me here, I just set the camera behind me, and you get this kind of a view. Since this shot, my desk is a lot more messy. Like I've got a couple cameras that I have angled here and whatever else, but I can clean it up. But instead of, I mean, yeah, so, oh yeah, there are two angles. I forgot. There are two angles that I could shoot from. It could be angle one like this, but imagine instead of seeing my back, imagine I turn around, right? So I do a 180 flip. So I'm facing the camera, talking to the camera, and then behind me are my two monitors with whatever's on the screen. So that, I guess that would be one different approach to like a different angle of when I'm doing my talking heads. This would be a little bit more to what K7 PV Production said, because you do still feel like you're seeing the person's setup. Versus like when I shoot this way, it looks nice. Hopefully with the lighting and everything, it'll be clean. But the problem is obviously you're not seeing my workplace. Yeah, it's a different flavor, right? You're getting like the clean, staged version that I want you to see. Not to say that obviously this would be staged as well, but it feels a little bit more like inside the workstation. So okay, there'd be option one where it's basically this same angle or something like this, where you see the monitors and it's just like opposite from the monitors. And then I am turning myself around. So I'm facing the camera and behind me are the two monitors. And then option two is like what we're seeing with Colin Kelly or the video we just had opened up, where it's more of a side angle. And you're seeing a little bit more of a side profile of me. And then off to the side is the monitors. I'm not sure. Both could actually work, I guess. Fed says, I looked just for fun to see if there are any safari options near Torre Vieja where we have our house in Spain. There's a zoo 35 minutes by car where they have a tiny safari train. Nice, nice. You know, if you're in Spain, the one thing I know a lot of wildlife photographers love to do, I haven't done it yet, is the lynx hides in Spain. The Iberian lynx. The only knock on why I haven't really done it yet is it is very staged. Or it's like you wait in a hide. It's a game of patience, but you're basically waiting for these animals to show up to a certain spot. So it doesn't feel as like, you know, catching a moment randomly in life in the wild. It is more of like, okay, everyone's going to get the same kinds of shots, but you can get really beautiful shots, you know? So, but it just doesn't feel as earned as when you do like a jungle trek or even like a Jeep safari to a certain extent. Daytor says, I say goodbye for today. See you next time. Thank you very much, Daytor. I appreciate it. Thank you for always being on my streams. I appreciate your presence. Thanks for your support. Have a good night. Have a guten night. Fedorowski says, yes, it's very far from us and they are notoriously shy, so you have to do it that way. Yeah. No, obviously like the hide is the only way to kind of get these moments. But people pay good money for this, you know. It would behoove me to organize certain trips to have people join me to do this kind of stuff. It's just like for me, it's the adventure level is lower, and I want to take people with me on stuff that feels like a proper adventure, not just being cooped up in a hide for 4 to 6 to 8 hours every day. Being completely silent and just waiting for the moment. It's magical in its own way, but if you don't get the moment, if you're a guest and you're joining me on a tour, I can run the risk of more disappointment per se, of like just you know, because otherwise it's boring. You're just going to be sitting here doing nothing. And I've done a number of these trips too, and I enjoyed it. It is physically strenuous anyway, so it is an adventure. But I don't know. I love, for example, the itinerary that I currently do for Uganda, where I can take people with me on these boat safaris into the swamp, going into like the forest for the chimpanzees, or the jungle for the gorillas, or even doing walking safaris to see the giraffes. Yeah, to me, that's like real, you know, you're out in the wild, baby. So anywho, I'll note to self, I want to maybe test out doing this kind of angle for maybe a future video. The only issue I have is that my apartment, my space is a bit cramped. So it's hard for me to like reposition the proper lighting I might need. So for example, technically the way I'm positioned in this frame, my understanding is what people who study lighting and all that kind of stuff, they would tell you that I'm lighting it the wrong way. Technically, this side of my face should be the key light. So I should have the key light over here, and then like the fill light should be on this side. So the side farther away from the camera is supposed to be more lit, because I think it makes the face more flattering, supposedly. I don't know. So even that technically is wrong the way I have it. I just don't have space to put the proper big key light on this side. So I had to do it this way. I don't know. If I move apartments, maybe. Fed says, we have lynx here in Norway also, but you never see them. It's the only way to see that specific animal. So if you really want to see lynx, it's the way to do it. But of course, hiking and safari where you see animals more naturally is better. I agree. I mean, man, who knows? If I can get to a point where I'm working with National Geographic, it'd be kind of cool to go way up in the mountains and like do camouflage hides for like those snow leopards or things like that. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. What were we watching? We were watching this guy. You know what? My ADHD is, I've kind of moved on from this video and we haven't even watched it. Okay, let's watch this other one.
This video is powered by Ugreen. Ever wonder why your pocket camera footage never looks cinematic? You're probably rushing into the grade like it magically gets you that movie-like shot. But it's the worst thing you could do. And I know because I've made the same mistakes in the past. So in this video, I want to share 4 color grading secrets that most people ignore, and I'll help you understand why each one works and how you could use it to make your pocket camera footage look more expensive. We're going to be using the Osmo Pocket 4 D-Log footage, but this should apply to most pocket cameras and phones out there with log capabilities. Stop adding colors way too much. Pocket cameras already have enough colors after you convert it properly using color space transform in DaVinci Resolve or using the free manufacturer's conversion LUT. The problem is most people add saturation way too much, but actually the best way to color grade is to kind of take away colors. Instead of adding saturation, let's desaturate certain colors. By this, we are still lifting the other colors by suddenly pulling back the distracting colors or colors we don't want to be overpowering the image. Do you see the difference? Intentionally desaturating the certain colors looks way cleaner and a lot more manageable in post than adding so many colors, tint, or saturation. The common theme here is control. The less chaos you have in your image, the easier it is to create something intentional. The same thing applies to my editing workflow and how I organize and store all my footage. And this is where Ugreen comes in. I'm using
I was just having a chat with a buddy of mine about hard drive solutions, because as I mentioned on the stream, I've run into my own problem with hard drive. And he mentioned he watched a video of someone who switched over to a Ugreen solution for cloud service plus hard drive, I think. And so I was like, okay. So, what are the odds?
DXP 4800 Pro in my setup, and it's like having your own private cloud server at home. All of my files live in one place on a storage that I actually control, especially now with so many conversations around data privacy and how files can be used by companies to train AI models. It also has the speed and power I need for video work, with an Intel Core i3 processor, 8 gigs of DDR5 RAM, plus 10 GB and 2.5 GB Ethernet ports for faster transfers. And because it connects to my computer like a massive shared drive over network through SMB, for a lot of my 4K projects, I can work directly from the NAS instead of constantly copying files back and forth. It supports up to 144 terabytes of storage, and if I need to add more drives later, the toolless drive trays and the guided setup make it feel as easy as pulling out a drawer. So whether you're archiving years of footage, working on multiple edits, or sharing files with a team,
I might need to get this. We'll see. But then shout out to Swiss Army Cinema. He had recommended something called the Oyen Fortis. But then we'll see. I have to double check which one might be better for my needs. Fed says it's the only way to see that. Oh yeah, sorry, you read that. Okay, guys, it is now 10 p.m. I haven't had dinner yet, so I think this is probably where I want to call it a day. Yeah, I think so. Ugh, I need to do a better job of sleeping earlier too. So I don't know. Wish me luck. Pray for me. Hopefully I can fix my sleep schedule because it's been a bit shoddy of late. Tomorrow's Friday. I should be streaming, and we're gonna keep picking up from where we are. Some of these things I might do off stream as well, just as an FYI, because as long as I feel productive, I want to get through the Sri Lanka stuff. Like I said, I'm working with my editor now. Hopefully he has everything. I've recorded, I've done all the talking heads, I got the scripting done, I've color graded all the footage, and so I already have a good idea of what the first episode of the series will be. So fingers crossed there. Separately, there's a few potential film projects I'm trying to push on my end to see if I can hopefully go back to Uganda soon. And I want to do some of those film projects I've mentioned in the past, like the Shoebill Stork Guide, for example, and the chimps. So we'll see if I can take that further. And then also, I don't know if any of you guys use AI, but Cloud, the Fable 5 is back online. That was the controversial one that apparently is so powerful that the US government blocked Cloud from using it, or from allowing people to use it. So I only got to use it for a heartbeat, but it is back online. So I'm kind of itching to see how Fable can make me successful in life. All right. Isn't that why AI is here? So we'll see. Wish me luck on that. Yeah. And then I'm going to watch, what was I watching? I've been rewatching Dexter. So I'm on second season of Dexter. I forgot how good the first 2 seasons of Dexter are. And then the subsequent ones were really good as well. I just remember the last season, they kind of lost me on that one. It wasn't that memorable. It felt a little bit weak on the landing. But then apparently, and the reason I'm rewatching is because then after Dexter, the show ended, then they tried again, right? There was like another series of Dexter that they tried. Maybe it was a movie or something, and that flopped. But then they've tried again, and I think it's called Dexter Resurrection, and apparently that's gotten crazy good reviews. So I was like, okay, let's give it a shot. So I figured I'll just at least watch the first couple seasons. Some parts, there's like a few things that happen to some characters in the show that, it's good for the story, but it's kind of hard to rewatch because it's like, I don't want to, without like spoiling anything. So I figured I'll watch the first 2 seasons, and my God, again, it's amazing. It's just it's a well-told story. It's very tight. Everything feels connected in how it gets to the ending. And then the remaining ones, I might just watch some YouTube video to do the recaps. And then I want to start watching Dexter Resurrection. Separately, there's I don't know how many of you guys like anime, but there is a show called Berserk that I've always seen got like, it's one of those like OG animes or something. So I started watching that, and it's really good. It's very dark. I like those dark, gritty types of shows anyways. So those are the 2 that I've been kind of watching while I'm working every day. Not that anyone asked, but you know, whatever, you're on my stream. King Crux says, nice ASMR stream, JobelPrize. Thank you very much. You know what? I usually like to put the music on while I'm talking, but that's more for myself for ADHD reasons. But thank you for appreciating my voice. Hells yeah. The microphone is doing its job too. Fed says Berserk is good. Yeah, I mean, I think I'm like 7 episodes in, something like that. And yeah, you know what? I've been mentally taking notes for myself in terms of like when eventually I'm gonna make stories, you know, for film or whatever medium. But I feel like especially I love watching the first episode or the first moments of movies to see how do they set up the premise, how do they kind of get the message across without too much, what's the word? Exposition, right? And how do they reveal characters or the backstories or reveal moments in a way that feels more like epic? And I think they've been doing a good job of it from the little bits I've seen so far. So those are the 2 shows. Apparently, again, for those of you who watch anime, there's a show called The World is Dancing that I was seeing pop up on my feed. Apparently, people are going hype mode for this new anime. So apparently the first episode or something came out. So anyways, that's another one I might check out. So yeah, Dexter and Berserk. Fed says, I haven't seen it since it was new, but I remember I really liked it, so it must have been pretty good. One thing I will say is the way that they animate the show, it feels very modern. I mean, I'm using the wrong words here, but the way that the animation plays out, it feels different from like your typical old school anime, like the popular ones, like the Naruto's and the One Piece, where it feels more like just static images that they shake around to make it feel like it's animated. Everything, like every motion feels like almost 3D rendered, kind of, you know, whatever. So yeah, I don't know. Something about the animation style does feel a breath of fresh air that you don't seem to see in a lot of others. So that is one thing I noticed off the bat, and I was like, oh damn, it's kind of crazy. It's nice the way they're doing this. So apparently it's withstood the test of time. All right, that's all the updates I've got for you. Where are my damn cats? I wanted to let them say goodbye, but they're just hanging out somewhere else. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys hopping in across YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. Look forward to another YouTube video. I don't know exactly when. Hopefully, I'll be able to publish it tomorrow. I have another Behind the Lens episode that is basically done, but I want to put some finishing touches on it. So I might be able to publish it tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the next day. And like I said, look forward to more of these travel vlog episodes to hopefully come out on a weekly basis would be ideal. I just got to work with my editor to see what's feasible. But yeah, keep seeing more content from me and then these live streams. Fed says, maybe you are watching the newer one. I saw the old Berserker. I don't know. Oh, I mean, that's a good point too. I didn't know there's an old versus new. I'm just seeing whatever's called Berserk. So yeah, maybe I'm watching a new one. I don't know. It has a touch of feeling old school, but new. Old, but new. I don't know. So the Berserk I watched was 1997. You know what? After the stream, I'm going to double check that. All right. Thanks, guys. I'm so hungry. I need to have some dinner.